it's nice to see you all this morning. I am shocked that so many people are up this early, particularly my dear friend Sandra. If you guys watch my cocktail videos, that's my Sandra with me. I can't believe she's awake.
She probably had to go to the bathroom or something. The dogs had to go out.
The dog. There's only one now.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. So good morning, everyone. Jennifer, I'm glad that you and your husband are both watching. Very exciting. Hello, Gallivant and Gals, and Sue. It's nice
Ronnie's
to see you,
on.
and
Lori.
Ronnie, Mark Finley, of course, and Marie and Thomas. Good morning, all of you. So, Mark Finley and Ronnie and Nick, and who else was in that group? Oh, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
They all got together yesterday, and on the members and patrons Facebook page, they posted some pictures and stuff. It was really cool that they all got to get together. And Brian made everyone my roasted sweet and salty spicy pecans and sent them home with everyone, which I think was really cool.
That was cool.
Yeah, and they liked them, so that's even better. Yeah.
Sandra said you actually got her out of bed.
John says, you cut your hair. I'm assuming you're referring to me. I cut my hair last summer. I donated more than 13 inches. It was like 34 centimeters. I got it cut in France. So, yeah.
Shay, I'm glad. Oh, I hope you're recovering well from surgery. I hope our videos can help make your day. That's nice to hear. Good.
Yeah.
Good to Verbesserung, as the Germans would say. Good, getting bettering.
Yes.
So get well.
Very much so. We've actually gotten Sandra out of bed. Good morning, Michael Mon. Euro, good morning to you too. And Ryan. Hello, man with the plan. The man with the plan says, what is your favorite Greek sweet dish? Halva, I guess. It's not terribly sweet, but I think that would be the one. My yaya used to make it.
That's like the bird nest.
Oh yeah, the stuff that's like shredded wheat. I don't remember the name of that. That's bad, isn't it? Thomas woke up for this too. Andy Lee says, can you make Chinese food? I can. I'm not like amazing at Chinese food. I actually do better with Korean food, probably just because I have more experience with it. But I do like to fiddle with Asian foods. There's just there's so many ingredients in Asian foods. Like you have to have like a lot of different sauces and things, and they're amazing. But it's always, I feel like it's a lot more work than I usually have time for. So anyway, Darian's here. Good morning. Family on standby. Hello. And Nick. The RV stuff. Family on standby. Let us know what's going on with that. Nick says Galatabudico is his favorite. So that's my dad's favorite. And I think it takes a very special someone to make it very well. My aunt, who isn't even Greek, she's an aunt by marriage, hers is the best. I mean, even my yaya was like, he makes it really amazing. So, hey, your mom's on here. Good morning, Calf. How are you?
Morning, Mom.
Jennifer asks if we've ever tried vegetarian haggis. I've not. Have you?
I did maybe 10 years ago, but I don't remember.
He says maybe 10 years ago he did, but he doesn't really remember it. So apparently it wasn't worth remembering. I mean, the whole point of haggis is to eat innards, right? So, Scorpio Sue, what's a good dish where you can make some great leftovers? So the things that I make leftovers out of most, it's like when I make a roast, whether it be chicken or whether it be beef or pork, I will very often take that meat and make it into like soup the next day. And if there's more left over from that, I'll end up making like pot pies or something similar to that.
Oh, that one like fajita pot pie you made?
Yeah. And a pot pie can be anything in the world. Like, if you go to England or the UK in general, you'll get all sorts of different really great savory pies. And that's what I do with a lot of my leftovers. So that's a good way to reinvent it. I don't really love to eat the same exact thing over and over, so I try to make it something different.
Kadyev.
So Kev did that. It's not. No, that's not it.
A Turkish name for it, but yeah.
Right. I was wondering if it was a similar, because sometimes our words sound similar when it comes to
it's such a complicated thing to make, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Liam and Caleb are asleep.
Yes, they are. Caleb came in to our room last night at like 2:30. It's like, I just can't make my brain shut off. And I was like,
Dude.
buddy, have a melatonin. And he was out in about 10 minutes. So that's good. So let's see.
John asks, when we're able to travel, I have to choose between Italy and Germany. Sad you have to choose. They're both great. What should you pick? I would probably go, if you haven't been to either of them, I'd probably go to Italy over Bavaria. Though I do like Bavaria. If you're going to go to Germany, Bavaria is probably the best place for tourists to go. But I would probably pick Italy over that.
So Family on Standby says, I didn't get the first part. There it is.
They got one.
They got one, yeah. And they'll come park in our driveway before their big trip out west.
There you go.
That sounds great. Let's see.
What do you think of Middle Eastern food? Fantastic.
Love Middle Eastern food.
Well, we used to good Middle Eastern restaurant on campus here where we live, and I would go there once or twice a week, probably like when we first came in 2011 until about 2013, 14, and then it closed, and it's gone through it's been like 16 other things since, but it's never been that good because that place is really good. A lot of my colleagues and I would go there, and we would go. It was always full. I'm guessing the owner must have just been tired of working or something.
Retired or something.
Yeah, because it was legit amazing.
Greek food and Middle Eastern food tend to share a lot of similarities, and so that's something that's really easy for me to switch between my Greek cooking and make it more Middle Eastern or vice versa. You just change up some of the spices and things like that, and it gives it more of a Middle Eastern twang or whatever. So.
Let's see.
Yeah.
My mom likes the cream puff type Greek dessert. We'll talk about that one.
Mo's here. Good
Some beautiful architecture somewhere where we can't go, buddy.
He likes to rub it in.
I know.
Hi, Talia. It's nice to see you. Happy belated anniversary to you, by the way.
Yes. Brian, you chase that little monster around there. That cute little monster. Now that he's all mobile. B.N. Smith has also got a little cute little boy who's now walking
into everything. Andy Lee wants to know if you can leave your hair down. He never does because he looks like Prince Adam.
Yeah, fat old Prince Adam, not let me turn into He-Man.
Prince Adam from He-Man.
Yeah. So yeah. Which is funny because when I had long hair when I was in high school and stuff, I never wore a ponytail. Only never. I hated it, and now I wear it all the time. It's kind of funny. My favorite dessert is French silk chocolate pie. By Kathy Wolters, who's on here.
And she needs to help me. We were going to do that last time we were there, and we didn't. I need her to teach me to make it. That's something that I think is really important because as I listen to my parents and my mother and father-in-law, they're always talking about so-and-so made the best of this or the best of that. And, I think it's really important to learn those recipes and cook them with the generation ahead of you or 2 generations ahead of you multiple times so that you can get it and
because what'll happen,
hold on to that later,
And what I've seen is a lot of times you'll have there's the base recipe, but then your mom, your grandma, your grandpa or whatever, they have changed a few things over the years, but they have the base. It says almond flour, but I use, tapioca flour because it gives us kick, though it doesn't say it in the thing.
Right.
Or you have stuff like my grandma's chicken and noodles, which is basically spätzle with chicken, and it was amazing. But she never wrote the recipe down; she just had it. And so my older cousin, she had made it with her a few times. So she was my grandma passed away, 15 years ago, but not 20 years ago now. And my cousin was like, okay, I'm trying to remember what grandma did, and so she had she remembered 70% of it. So she's tried it a few times, and we're like, it's close. There's something missing. We don't know what it is.
Yeah, I remember making kaludia, which is like a hard cookie, or the English or would
biscuit.
Call it biscuits. It's like you dunk it in your coffee or your hot chocolate and stuff. And I remember making that with my yaya, and I remember the two of us sitting there talking about how you have to do it by feel. It's like 8 cups of flour. But then she's like, but you just got to feel your batter. It might be needing more, whatever. And so we kind of mess up.
If it's humid that day, it's like when my grandma used to make divinity, which was basically you couldn't make it half the year because it was too warm or the humidity wasn't right. It would just collapse on itself.
Definitely that way. Hang on. Troy, I want to...
Hi, Brig. Say hi. Hi, Brig.
Oh.
Brig's here. This stinky.
He's breaking my legs.
We gotta get you your teeth cleaned.
So
they have to put him to sleep. Not put him to sleep, but like.
Troy says that he just messaged OPFOB. So if you want to look them up another way, because I talked to JR, and he's the guy that's starting this.
Climb.
You can message him, but you can also, they have a YouTube thing, and it's Malphris, Malphrus Oaks Plantation, Malphris Oaks Plantation in Ridgeland, South Carolina. And that's where they're going to do this big thing. And dang!
He's coming through.
Like, seriously.
Ray, come over here.
You're like a rhinoceros.
Come here. Because we have the table and the chairs here, and he's trying to come between. Okay, now sit down. Down.
Break my knees.
Here, wait, stop, move. Move back.
So, anywho, Troy, message JR at that too, or you can get a little more feeling for that.
There we go.
I told him you'd be writing, so the man with the plan says, do you think American tourism will do better this year because more travelers will stay in the U.S. this year?
It will do relatively much. Well, it'll do much better than international travel. I don't think it'll be better versus a normal year. I think it'll be closer to a normal year than international travel will be. I think international travel will be down significantly still at least for another through next summer. I'm going to guess. I mean, Delta just announced their flights for next year, and they've gotten rid. Like Indianapolis to Paris is gone. They're only focused on major hubs, basically. So if you want to fly to Europe with Delta, you basically Amsterdam, London Heathrow, Paris,
CDG.
or Lufthansa's Frankfurt. Like that's like there's some other things that's still going to go on, but going to Europe. I mean, it's going to be through Detroit, Atlanta, Minneapolis. So you're going to be connecting LA. So if you're going to be going to Japan, Haneda, I think you're going in there. Haneda. So there's an article that came out. One of our superheroes posted that in our superheroes group earlier today.
So musings at midlife. Laura says, do you have certain types of food that you have difficulty finding some ingredients? So, yes and no. Where we live, we have a very large Indian and Asian population. So we have a lot of international grocery stores, like small ones. So I'm able to get a lot of things that I wouldn't maybe be able to get in other places. And quite frankly, now I can get a lot of the things, like when we travel, we come home with bottles of hot sauce. Like my favorite hot sauce currently is this stuff from Belize. It's Marie Sharpie. So I can find a lot of those things on Amazon. You may have to wait a really long time for them to get to you and stuff, but for the most part, what's hardest for me, I think, here is to get really good seafood. I can get some. This one guy has it brought in from Chicago, and Chicago gets daily fresh stuff flown in. So being that we're not far, I can get it pretty good. But that's kind of the hardest thing for me.
So sorry about the lag. It's showing us here that the stuff's not going through very well, and all the kids are asleep. All our devices are off. So. Phones aren't doing anything either, so hopefully it'll pop up and do better later.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can say ni hao ma, wo shi jiao shuo, wo shi mark.
So.
Booyah.
Booyah. So someone with an Asian name that I cannot read says, "Can I become a member through mobile?"
Yes. If you go down, you'll see a join button, and if you click the join button. It will let you join. Now, it depends where you're located because memberships is not available in every single country. Depends on how Google is with that country. It's kind of like Super Chats. Only certain people can do Super Chats. But, sorry, we're on Simply Jocelyn. So right now, you cannot become a member on Simply Jocelyn yet because you have to have at least think 100,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 subscribers to have that option. And Jocelyn is only at 1,200 subscribers.
You can do it on Wolters.
Yeah, but on Wolters World, if you go to Wolters World and you just go on any of our videos, there'll be a join button, and you just click on join, and it'll show you what membership level you can grab and join on. So yeah, thank you.
Oh look, Chef Ilham from Fondue Peace is here. Hello in Morocco. It's nice to see you.
Hello.
We were just talking about your channel yesterday on our live, and if y'all were listening, Fondue Peace, she's right here in the chat, and you can go and check out. She's got some great foods and wonderful classes. We had so much fun. The dog just knocked something over.
Yes.
That scared me. So anyway, really, if you're ever in Marrakesh, look her up and go take one of her classes.
Yeah, they're fun.
It was great fun.
Her husband's a funny guy too.
He's hilarious.
You get to learn about the spices. They have different dishes each day. So hey, you can do multiple if you want.
Yeah.
And there's some
space
out there.
Meal,
yeah,
not just like one dish.
And it was like half a day.
It was, and the kids loved it. Actually, our boys made friends with the neighbors, and they played soccer all day, and it was really fun.
So Pila, the membership, there's like a $2, $5, and $15 a month thing on here on YouTube, and then on Patreon there's different things there.
Your mom said lots of church services on now. You know what? You're right. Maybe the bandwidth is just slow because everyone's at church. Scorpio Sue says, you can tell from traffic in Chicago that more and more people are going out, especially on the weekends. Rush hour is still not bad. That must be really nice, right?
So a few things I want to talk about. One, Jamie B. Hey, Mark and Jocelyn, any advice for emergency healthcare needs while traveling? I'll be in Japan, hopefully, in March. Hopefully we'll be there in May. I'm really hoping because I want to go via the conference, which is an expensive conference to go to, so I'm going to wait to buy the stuff until we can actually go. A
little bit closer to time?
Yeah. So anyway, one thing is whenever we buy our plane tickets, we always get the insurance that goes along with that. There are new policies out there that you can actually get for COVID-specific things, because COVID will not get covered because it's a pandemic. Most likely will not be covered by traditional travel insurance. So you need to buy a specific kind of thing. Unless you buy like no reason at all, I can just say, no, I want my money back insurance, which costs more. You can do that. But in terms of emergency health care, some things like my job, I have emergency health care, but they only cover me. They don't cover the family, like if I'm abroad for something. So that's one of the things you want to look at and see what's on offer. But also your healthcare back home might not cover you abroad. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you might be doing stuff out of pocket. So that's why it's always a good idea. And if you're on Medicare in the U.S., you will not be covered abroad. So you have to get care when you're there. One thing I've seen though is healthcare around the world is significantly cheaper abroad than versus the U.S. Like entire stays at the hospital are less than the copay for a stay at the hospital in the U.S. So
like by a lot. Family on Standby subscribed, and I appreciate it. Thank you. If y'all aren't subscribed, I would appreciate if you did, because I could use it.
Yes, thank you. And please do click like. So we're trying to get Jocelyn's channel get growing because we're going to start for one of our next few travels. We're going to be doing like some more packing stuff and traveling with kids and stuff.
And do some architecture things.
Yeah, and so we're going to be putting that on Jocelyn's channel because what we found is our packing videos get lost in our travel videos.
But we feel that they're really important.
Yeah.
And we need to know those.
Yes. And the thing is how YouTube works. I mean, it sounds silly talking about the algorithm, but it really is like right now there's so many channels that everyone gets niched into a channel. So people that get ours are only people that already watch it or like family stuff, whereas there's other people that have adventure bloggers. They only get those. And so this is one way we thought, hey, we can get those packing videos, get those things to help out traveling with kids, even though our few family stuff goes well, but some will work well on her channel. So
Talia asked if I have any pressure cooker, Instapot, slow cooker kind of recipes. I do, and that's stuff that I usually do in fall and winter, so I'll get to some of that pretty soon. I don't have an Instapot. I have a pressure cooker, and I think I've said this before that I've had a pressure cooker. I had my grandmother's pressure cooker that was, it was ancient, and I finally blew it up. Do you remember that day? The little thing that would pop up?
It was like a gunshot.
Flew up, and I'm not kidding. It put a hole like an inch deep hole in my ceiling. That was bad because we were renting that house. But anywho, I do a lot of that, and it makes me laugh that people are always like, "Can't believe you use a pressure cooker. They're so dangerous." Blah blah blah. And then everyone ran out like 2 years later to buy this Instapot, and I'm like, it's the same thing.
Yep.
It's you just
Makes
don't have
different.
buttons to like say rice or whatever. But I cook in my pressure cooker all through the fall and the winter, pretty consistently. So.
Oh, Jennifer Benzie at the music festival. You want to read that?
Weird. I don't see Jennifer.
On holiday, once I got to solder together a mini synthesizer at the Barcelona Sonar Music Festival. Such a random thing to do on a holiday, but it was so fun.
That's very cool. I haven't soldered anything in a really long time. I used to. One of my girlfriends, she had taken a lot of jewelry classes when we were in college, and so when we were done with all of our classes one quarter, we just sat for like a week and we made jewelry, and it was really fun.
One thing I learned about medical stuff abroad, Google Translate doesn't work well for medical terminology. That is 100% true. That's why sometimes it's best just to show them the English terminology, because a lot of the doctors will have learned some English or those things, and because the papers they have to read. So that's one thing. Mm-hmm. Also, don't do Google Translate. Find you'll look up a translation of what is high blood pressure to high blood pressure, and there's specific ones that'll have that because the doctors use it too. So use those online. Don't just go the Google Translate, but find a specific website.
There are a lot of them out there. There are some that actually give you, if you have a certain health condition and you're going to specific countries where you can print it off and laminate it, or you can order laminated ones from them, so that it's coming and it's correct. So Gallivant and Gals says, you guys don't buy annual trip insurance, just do it by trip. So yes.
Yeah, because we travel so differently, because
different places won't take always the same. Like, you may buy that annual travel insurance, but it may not cover you in certain countries.
And how random we travel sometimes to get, like we went to Rwanda, Tanzania last year, and if we would have thrown that on for that year, it would have boosted it up. That it was cheaper just to buy the insurance with, and also the tour we were on required us to have additional insurance, and whatever we had was not good enough. We had to buy their stuff. Yeah. So, Sandra Baxter, y'all inspired me to fix a Bloody Mary. Cheers. Did you do a Bloody Mary one?
We didn't.
So you did a Bloody Mary one and a Caesar cocktail, the Canadian version of it.
You know that she's just saying, you are boring this morning.
Yeah.
Joking.
We're just getting warmed up.
What we should all have right now, because it's morning, we should all have ourselves an espresso old fashioned, because that would be great.
There you go.
John Timmons says, Jocelyn, my wife is shopping for travel pants. Could you recommend anything in particular? So, for me, I like lightweight, that pack really nicely. But if you need them for like later in the year, I like some that I can put some tights under, not tights, maybe compression pants or something. So not really skinny. I do have a pair from Athleta that I really like. I manage somehow. These things are never on sale, but what are they called? They've got a specific name. I could run upstairs and grab them and figure that out.
I'll answer some questions if you want to try to find them.
So, okay, you do that and I'll be back.
Hey, Roberto in Switzerland. Good to see you. Pila, favorite cocktails. Jocelyn is an espresso espresso old fashioned. She was talking about. That's her go-to. I'm a Jack and Ginger, stirred with my Biscoff Delta cookie. And now they don't have alcohol on the flights, and I can't fly anyway. So what do you know? So yeah, I guess it's best that we're not flying right now. Nurad has a great one. Hey guys, I see you have a picture of your biggest fan behind you above the mantle. That's pretty funny. So we'll do, like Jocelyn was saying, Darren, Jocelyn do a crock pot a lot of times in the fall, because we usually have like people. We are very big in entertaining. Granted, this year has been a little bit tough for entertaining, so we'll usually have stuff, and so there'll be a bunch, because in the fall, that's when that's where I see Jocelyn really making a lot more food videos. Because in the summer, someone's on the heat advisory, hey, I just had the ninja cook it for us, so it's tough. So don't worry, more of that stuff will be coming, especially now that the kids are going to be back online doing online schooling. So we have 4 or 5 hours every day where we can focus on doing some stuff for our channels and building stuff up, so we can get more stuff filmed. So there is that. Let's see. Yeah, Euro says I had to communicate. Okay, I had to communicate what an IV was to a hotel staff so they could communicate to the hospital. I had to draw it out with my arm and finger. Yeah, that's why sometimes like you'll be like this, or you're like choking. I mean, sometimes it is really you go back to the finger pointing. So Jocelyn found the name of the pants and she's typing it in now.
Okay, it's down there. They're called the Athleta Wander Stash Pant or Stash Wander. I might be getting those backward. They're not cheap. They're like $100. I randomly found them on sale. They're not on sale very often, so if they go on sale, you buy them. But they're not cotton, which is weird. I really usually like very natural fabrics when I travel, but they breathe really well, and things do not get like they kind of repel water. Things don't stain on them. You'd have to like really kill them to try and stain them, but they're a really good pair of pants and I like them a lot. And they're kind of like, they're almost like a cigarette pant where they're like narrow ankle. So they flatter a lot of body types. So there you go.
I would look good in them. Yeah, Jennifer, I'm going to go with the gals and say it is totally fine. I mean, 3 p.m. for a drink? I mean, what took you so long? I mean, come on. It's Sunday, it's a relaxing day. You got stuff tomorrow. You got work, got things to go on tomorrow. Today's a relaxing day. The man with the plan. When do you think the U.S. will allow Europeans to visit again? I think we're still a few months away before that. I could maybe by the end of the year, but I don't see it happening in the next month or two. I think right now, because you have all the schools and universities going back and a lot more testing going on, especially at universities, you're going to have a lot more numbers going up, so it's going to scare people off. And they're going to, like, hey, let's just wait a bit. So I wouldn't imagine any news of changes until at least October when they start talking about it, because you have to get past this theoretical, spike we're going to have with all the schools. I mean, I know where we are. There's, they're testing a lot, so we're, it's good to test because then people know, and then we get some better numbers, but also then people will know, like, oh, I actually do have it, because you might not know. You might be asymptomatic. I mean, I have to get tested twice a week for work, so.
Nick Barnett says, I'm having my normal summer morning frappe right now. If any of you have been to Greece, you have probably had a proper cafe frappe, and it's Nescafe frappe, and we say frappe today, sleep tomorrow, because it's got some stuff in it. Ronnie Dove says Jack and Coke. Really, right now I'm on this espresso old-fashioned kick, but my go-to, generally speaking, minus the funny handcrafted things that I like.
Can I get, there was time, because you have the tequila and cranberry.
Tequila and cranberry juice with a lime squeeze.
Jack and ginger.
Oh, wait, what else do I ever drink?
Espresso old fashioned.
I guess so.
Because all I know is whenever we go and she has to go to the powder her number when they come to order drinks, I'm like, tequila and cranberry.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? I'm like,
yeah, you can't believe how many people like go.
And then they're like, no, it's good. And they'll, because back in the day, they would like take with a little tiny straw and go, oh, that actually is not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like bartenders be like, oh, that's actually not bad. I'm like, yeah. Because
really
the cranberry
tasty.
just kills the flavors. So, traveling the world, any more national park videos coming out? So we have the don'ts ones. So we should, hopefully, if we figure out our fall trip, we will have a few more national park ones. Because we did kind of a general don'ts. I think what we're going to be doing this fall, we'll hit some national parks and state parks and give some more like mistakes and shocks and the love and hates. Like we'll do our usual series of things, but also give some advice, like what to know when you go to, Yosemite or Yellowstone or whatever. So we'll have some more of those coming out this fall. Because I think what we're going to have is a lot more, even if there's vaccines, we can get this. I still don't see a ton of people feeling comfortable enough to go international again. So I think we're going to have another big summer of domestic tourism next year. So we're going to be doing a bunch of U.S. stuff to try to get those out so that people can start their planning process. And what I've seen is the day after Christmas, we have people really plan their summer vacations and their vacation stuff the 2 weeks after Christmas. That's actually 2 of our biggest weeks of the year. So we're going to plan to have a bunch of stuff out so people can start doing a lot of U.S. prep travel. Then
there are a couple questions I want to answer real quick. One, it was like the name was New Rad, and asking about packing light for a bigger guy. And Melinda answered, said, so as a larger woman, I agree my saving grace is my partner is small, so I add stuff to her suitcase to even it out. We do that with the kids. So
I get Liam, she gets Caleb.
Right. So to even things out when we're going into carry-ons, that's what we do. But the big thing, and this applies for literally everyone, it doesn't matter what your size is to make all your tops match all your bottoms, because, or as many as possible, because then you can, you get a lot of outfits out of a very few pieces of clothing.
If I take my pink salmon colored shorts, I have to make sure like that's a distinct color, so not everything's going to go with it because it would clash. So I got to make sure, and I will actually sit and. I mean, I'll bring 3. We have the 5 tops, 5 bottoms kind of stuff, but
that's the rule.
That's the rule. But sometimes I'll go less, and she'll get mad at me. But I'll go like at least like 3 minimum, and I'm making sure all the shirts I have, I get those with every pant because then I can kind of mix it up a bit more. Also, if you're going to take extra stuff, what I always found best was taking extra underwear because the real stinky stuff is going to be because you're walking, you're sweating. I'm not saying
toss it out. Take your old underwear and throw them away because that is not a bad thing to do.
Well, there's that, but also we take extra because if you're going to be washing or whatever, it's a lot more expensive to wash your full set of clothes. Whereas you can wash out your underwear in the sink and stuff like that at night and have that, and then because your jeans you don't have to wash every single day unless you're me and you eat and everything goes everywhere.
Pigpen.
Yeah, but what my big thing is, like Jocelyn was saying, is make sure everything matches so then you can rotate things out easier. Also, look at like Febreze and Tide sticks and all that kind of stuff that will like reinvigorate your slightly worn clothes.
Pick things that dry easily too. Yes. I mean, you need a pair of jeans or 2 usually, but if you can pick fabrics and thinner things that you can layer, like if it's winter or something. So that you can dry them overnight. A lot of the rest of the world has those heated towel bars. By the way, I want one of those next house. And
go along with we'll have to have a whole electrical panel just for the wall because there'll be that, and then there'll be the Japanese toilet, and
we need a lot of electricity in my bathroom. Not for hair appliances or anything, as you can tell. Anyway, so. Those things are really great if you can get them to dry pretty quickly. Let's see. And Mark Finley said, did you decide on a replacement for your vacuum yesterday? Was it yesterday? Mm-hmm. My vacuum, it was vacuuming. I turned it off. And the next thing I know, it turned on. I turned it on. It was like, there was like no suction. I'm like, no. And I checked every part. Filter's clean. It's just done. So I've had 2 sharks in the last 12 years or so. One I did not break. I just wanted the Duo with the extra roller brush because it's amazing on hardwood. So I gave that away, and I'm kicking myself because my second one didn't make it. But anyway, so I haven't decided yet. I was researching a lot last night. I'll probably end up going back to Shark because I like them better than the Dysons. That stupid ball doesn't get under any of your furniture. It's irritating.
The gals are like us, 2 Dysons and a Shark, but they have 3 dogs and a cat. Yeah, it's a lot of...
But they like their Shark better. So, yeah. And let's see.
So Brigadier, the good puppy here, he doesn't shed too much, but Quantum, our old pup, you
could knit a sweater every day with what came off that dog. And he was a short-haired dog.
I mean, we would clean. I mean, honestly... Still, he passed away in 2013. We lived in a different house, and I will still occasionally find his hairs in some of our stuff when we're moving things around.
A baby.
So.
Roberto asks, where did you drink the best coffee ever?
I don't drink coffee, so I can't.
I'm gonna say my favorite coffee is Greece, number 1, and then Italy. And then a toss up for after that would be Costa Rica and Ecuador. Well, I don't know. I had some really good stuff down in Brazil too. So, I find that as long as it's not American style coffee, I like it. I just don't like American style coffee for whatever.
Burned or something?
No, it's just watery.
For me, it's all about the hot chocolate. I think the liquid chocolate, hot chocolate in Lithuania with some paprika or chili powder in there is my favorite. But also there's some other like Ecuador had a really good hot chocolate too. Let's see.
Oh.
Bye, Catherine. Didn't get to say bye.
Oh. Okay.
So I arrived at 7 a.m. completely, Jennifer. So I arrived at 7 a.m. completely plastered. Getting through security took a while. Yeah, that can happen.
I don't know if they did SATs in
So
the US.
it depends. No, you can still take them. My cousin had to go do one. They're still giving them, but some universities are waiving them this year for entrance because of everything. It just depends on the university they're trying to get into. Man with a plan for that. So Klaus, the Champions League final tonight: Paris Saint-Germain versus Bayern Munich. Who do you support?
PSG.
Because I lived in Germany, so everyone, if you don't live in Bavaria, you always cheer against Bayern, except when they're in the final. So I got to give them that. But those are two teams I actually do enjoy. But I lived in Berlin, so I was always head to Berlin, and we always lost against Bayern when we go to the games. I don't think I ever saw here. I went to probably like 10 Hertha games when I lived there, and I don't think they won any. I went to a bunch of Borussia Dortmund games because of Magnus, and they always like destroyed whoever they played. And then Kopos was a buddy that lived near us. It's like imagine like the Peoria team, like some middle-sized town, like made it to the major leagues, and they were like there, so we had to go to those games. So it was pretty fun.
Jennifer Benzie, this cracks me up. She says, when I flew to China to visit my mom, they were serving free drinks, and being a Scots lass, I can't say no to free stuff. Honey, you're not the only one. That's got nothing to do with being Scots. And
our people, Scots.
So I arrived at 7 a.m. completely plastered, and getting through security took a while. I might have been there once or twice. On a particularly bumpy flight, there's a good chance that I'm like, just give me 2 or 3 now so you don't have to come back. Actually, there have been a couple of flight attendants that I'm like, I'm like sitting there like this because it's a bad flight, and they're like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Can I have wine and Jack and ginger? Can I just have both now?" And they're like,
"See, that's what we're always.
Yep, here you go."
We're always super friendly and nice. We always say hi to them and stuff, and just in case, it's like, sure, we'll give you 2. It's all right. Mo is asking thoughts on the Japan Olympics that's been pushed to 2021. Really want to go next year, but that looks very unlikely. So I think what you're gonna, I don't know. There's 2 ways it can go. They might just cancel it, or if they do like the bubble thing, like the NBA has done, where they have people like quarantined in there, people can't go out, so it doesn't have spectators. I think you could pull that off. But talking to people that have been in the Olympic villages, I mean, it's like summer. It's like summer camp there. Like you're seeing all these things online now, pictures of like sororities and fraternities and college students like not practicing social distancing. Like that's exactly what happens to the Olympic village. Apparently,
I think Olympians are probably going to wash a pair of underwear. Little bit stupid. They make a ton of money on that. So we very, very rarely do that. Most often, like I said, we do it at home or in the hotel.
Or we might we might schedule an Airbnb or a VRBO. So we have
halfway through or something. So when we know we're going to be dirty, where we can have a place to kind of relax if we're somewhere for a while, we do that.
Yeah. Or there's sometimes like we know we're gonna be like if we have a really long travel day and all our clothes are. I'm like, look, we're gonna spend the money. Everyone's gonna have one clean out for we're gonna travel, and so we're not totally gross while we're traveling. So we'll do that. It's like, look, a clean pair of underwear, a clean pair of pants, and it goes a long way when you're traveling.
Yeah, and I've got a really great thing on there on how to dry clothes quickly, where you put your article of clothing in a towel and wrap it up and then twist the heck out of it, and it gets a ton of the water out. So that's very helpful.
Hey, Pink Lady. Good to see you on here.
Troy says, I usually take a trash can liner from the hotel. That's a good one too. So
sorry, let's know if we disappeared. Reconnection successful.
Oh my gosh,
are we still here, people? Are we still there? Gotta love this. Excellent connection. Okay, we're still going. Okay.
Sorry, that was a little scary for a second.
It said we dropped our connection.
So I like the cold iron better. I think it does a better job at getting the wrinkles out faster. So that's a thing. Let's see. Sorry. Sorry, I gotta catch back up. Yes, Talia, Shark just came out with a new duo. I'm probably gonna end up with that one. Generally speaking, I usually go with their first ones. And generally speaking, I've had two, but I usually get the newest one.
TGK said sharks.
I saw that. Gallivant and Gals, winter bulkier items are easier because you're layering and you can wear the layers more often and no one knows. I agree. So I'm a big fan of a lot of layers in the winter. And then I bought this. I can't believe I did this. This is so unlike me, but I bought this thing last summer because we were going to be a little more than 2 weeks in Africa, and we were going to be like 4 weeks in Europe. And so we had to have basically 2 sets of clothing for everyone, like 2 different bags worth of stuff because the trips were so different in our needs. Good morning, Becky. So I bought this thing called Pacum, Pacum, and they come with bags and it sucks the air out and actually works. Like a lot of those travel bags where you like squeeze the air out, whatever, they reinflate and they're kind of worthless. This one actually really worked well. And that is something I had planned on doing this winter for like winter coats. Because often we'll go somewhere, like if we leave here and it's cold and we go somewhere warm, we'll just leave our coats in the car and then run like crazy to get to the car. But that's always kind of, it's never like the optimal thing to do. So I was thinking I'd be able to like suck all the air out of those down things. And I used it this summer and it worked out really well. So yeah. All right. So Becky and Sandra are chatting about Charleston or Charleston Mix. What's that? Is that coffee? Or what is that? Tell me about it. Any ideas what your first abroad trip will be and why? John, we don't know. We've canceled so many things. We've got some still lined up. If we're able to go to those will be our first. We don't know. We just want to go down to.
Most likely, it'll probably be a UK trip.
Yeah.
We'll do a direct flight to London and go from there. Brian's with me. Not a coffee person. Doesn't matter what you do to it. Bleh, exactly.
Jennifer, I've never had Sheridan's. I've never had that. So. Okay, and Darian and Troy, our 2 vets here, are talking about underwear and spit shine boots, I think. Oh, bless your hearts. I can't imagine.
Oh, I've had Sheridan's. I know that. Jennifer, I didn't like it because the coffee, but that's one of the things they would put in one of those shots we would have, the 10 shots for t-shirt thing.
Yeah.
It was in one of them.
Nick and Mo are having huskies and how the hair never goes away even if you move to a different country.
Yeah, it's amazing. You're like, I didn't have that shirt when I was home.
Yeah,
it finds a way.
So, and Kathy and Melinda are talking about washable, dry, quick underwear is important. So I'm a huge fan of dry, quick underwear. Also, Duluth Trading Company has some good stuff. The first ones I bought, though, I thought I was getting smaller ones. I pulled them out. I swear to y'all, they were like a tent. Yeah. And they were small, but they were like, you can't see my hands, but they were like this big. And I'm like, well, how's that supposed to fit? They must have been mismarked. But anyway, it was pretty funny. But those are really great for dry, quick. I also really like cotton or something that is natural, just because I find it more comfortable, especially when you're sitting for a long time and things like that. So
Andy Lee, we have not been to South Korea. My dad worked there for a number of years, but he never took me or my mom, and we're all still bitter about it 20 years later. That's one thing. We could have gone there when we had our Israel trip got canceled. That was one of the options, but I was so burned out. I'm like, just hit the beach for a few days and just chill.
Traveling the World asks, where in Russia did you go to, and where would you go on your next? Went to St. Petersburg because that's what we could get.
And then you have to Moscow visas. And the river cruises down to Moscow. You do that, but I think if we would go back, we'd want to do the Trans-Siberian Railway and do that. And we'd talked to a company about doing that. But COVID and stuff, so didn't. everything kind of went away, and I think you'll see. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see when travel comes back how what companies are going to do to try to promote, or countries are going to try to promote people to come to their country, but also I think you're going to have much more targeted tourism. Like Amsterdam stopped advertising for tourism except for like conferences. They're going to start touring like. We want to get tourists that are going to spend money.
But they've been
here.
wanting people to not come to Amsterdam for about a minute.
Yeah, for a while.
Yeah. So Mark says that I really want to go to Moscow, and there's a small village not terribly far from Moscow that I'd like to visit, where they do a lot of icon painting, and I wanted to take an icon painting class. Actually, there was one in Chicago that I was looking at doing not too long ago, just because it's not just that I'm Greek Orthodox, but I just love iconoclastic art, and so I would really like to go to that it's very small town. I'd like to go and do that and see what's what.
The man with the plan, the most popular unique dish in Illinois is either Chicago deep dish pizza or the horseshoe, which is from Springfield, which is like fries and a burger or something, and then cheese on top. It's like it's like throw everything in there together.
I was gonna say it was either the horseshoe or Made Right.
Or Made Right's more loose meat sandwiches.
Yeah, but it's the bestest, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Buffering parts, you gotta cast up those things. Let's see. Mark, is your favorite beer still the smoked one from? It's not from Bergen, it's from Bamberg. But yeah, John, that's still my favorite one. Though I used to be able to get it here in town occasionally, a bottle or two, but I haven't had them lately.
So that Charleston mix Sander was having is the Bloody Mary mix.
Nice.
No, I never wear strapless dresses. Partially because my body just doesn't fit them very well, but I'm not comfortable running around. I want to make sure it stays up. Like, I don't want anything falling out. So yeah. Well, Nick says it's the church live feeds. They're mad we're not praying with them. Well, I already got up and did my devotionals for the morning, so there's that.
Yeah, Leslie70 said, "Do you ever regret visiting or revisiting a country?" Yeah, there's been a couple times where I'm like, "Why did we come back? Like, we should have gone someplace new." Like going to Aruba. Like now, I look back, you know what? I just should have sucked it up and go, because basically our Israel, like we had our boarding passes, and we had to cancel Israel, so we called up Delta, like, "Oh, we can get you to South Korea like tomorrow." I mean, this is like 10 o'clock at night, and we're like, we have nothing booked, nothing there. I'm like, I can't. And so then they got us Aruba. One went to Aruba. Well,
logically, logistically, all of that, it was right to go to Aruba. But dang, I wanted to go to South Korea. Yeah, but we didn't have anything booked. I mean,
and we were all, and work was really stressful that time. Right. And it was like, forget it.
We did the right thing.
Yeah, we did the right thing, but in the end, I'm like, wow, this is kind of lame, because it was just basically
it's not our jam.
Yeah, New England threw up on the Caribbean, and that's what it was.
It just wasn't our jam. So there's that.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with New England throwing up on things. I like New England, but it was just so funny. I saw so many Tom Brady and Patriots gear. I mean, even when I was in New England, I did not see as many Tom Brady things and Patriots things.
It was far more New England than New England was.
Let's see.
Best wings in the world. This is Darian says. Magnificent Germany with Darian says. Best wings in the world is at D.D. Pecker's in Charleston. I have never been to D.D. Pecker's, but I will go there next time we're down, because our family is a huge fan of chicken wings.
Mm-hmm.
We probably get chicken wings like on average 3 times a month.
I would say once a week at least.
Are we that bad? Well, during COVID.
During COVID, because one of the few places we actually will go get
underwear. Yes, they do. So ex officio. Tommy John, but Tommy Johns are stupid expensive, but that's another good brand. And for the men. And
for me, no, Tommy John was very comfortable, but the fabric was relatively thin. So like, sometimes when you're putting your underwear on, you miss your foot. Like, I had the
ripped
them. Like, and I only had for 3 months, and it's not like I'm wearing them every day. So I'm like, I kind of expect them to last a bit longer than 3 months of once a week wearing. I mean, come on. So I was kind of disappointed in that. But they were really comfortable, but for that price, I expect them to last longer.
Do you ever regret visiting a country because you'd rather be in your favorite country? like you go to the UK, but you'd like to be in France more. No, because
we're seeing new things.
Yeah, as long as I'm seeing new stuff, I rarely I rarely think that, except for that time with like Aruba and South Korea. That was one time I was maybe disappointed in that, but
So Gene Cube, hey Gene, hello. Trip to Greece canceled, sucks. Which I would be going on in 3 weeks, postponed until May. So hopefully. So going to Vegas in November and Cancun in February, flying out of O'Hare. Hopefully no snowstorms. Yeah, we've had to sleep in O'Hare because of snowstorms a few times. That's one of the reasons why we'll fly out of Bloomington, just go down to Atlanta, because there's no snowstorms in Atlanta. So that helps out a bit. No, Andy, we have not been to North Korea either. So
hang on.
Morning, Francis.
Hi, Francis. Jean, I want to say something about that. If there is any chance that weather is going to turn bad and you have a little bit of a layover or it looks like this has happened to us several times. It's not a bad idea to get into the lounge of whatever airline you're flying, because at some point, if everybody gets stuck,
climb. Go break, go climb, go boy, go climb.
Being in the lounge, one, you get free food and drink in there.
Not anymore.
Oh, not anymore. But you will have better and easier access to people to help you out, getting new tickets and things like that. And if it gets really crowded, they will cut off how many people can be in the lounge. Like, everything else, there's a limited number of people, which is probably even more limited right now, right? So, that's not a bad thing to do when it looks like you might get stuck somewhere.
So Sean, 1113, hello. What advice would you give about solo traveling in 2021 in general? Be flexible and make sure you have your insurance covered. Best advice I can give you. Don't plan too far ahead because we don't know what's going on. So have alternate plans.
Jennifer said people here have been renting Airbnbs and using them as bars. It's crazy. Who thought of that? That would never occur to me.
Well, that's why you have, like, remember the rental we went to? There's like no parties, no.
Well, most of them say no parties. Yeah. I mean, we've been in places in the past where it said no parties, but I'm like, I'll actually write them and say, hey, we just want to have, some friends over for dinner. It's just 2 other couples, or, 1 other couple and their 2 kids or whatever. And I've asked and they've been okay with that.
We also had other places that were like straight up like,
no.
Yeah. They're I'm like, we got things like, Caleb's friend came over and they were like 10 and they're like, well, you had a 5th person there. I'm like, his friend came over for like, they were playing baseball
hours.
In the backyard.
Right.
Like, there's something a little psycho.
Yeah. So, but if people were using my Airbnb for a bar, especially right now,
I'd
would be ticked because I don't want to be any part of that.
Yeah, because I would assume you'd be the one getting sued as well.
Yeah. Sean says, hello, what advice would you give about solo traveling in 2021 in general?
That's the one I was talking about.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed that. I apologize.
Did you Steve's up here? Steve Leibowitz. My Italy, France, and Switzerland for our honeymoon. Congratulations.
That sounds like a great
Any suggestion on where to go and what to see? Thank you. If you want to do the train thing, do the open or the multi-city ticket where you fly into Paris and fly out of Rome, or fly to Rome, fly to Paris. And so what you could do is do like Paris to Nancy, then go, or Paris to Strasbourg or whatever, and then go down into Switzerland. Like in Switzerland, you can do the inner, like if you want the German side, a little different, but like Lucerne, we like Lucerne a lot. But you could go to like Geneva, then go across Lucerne, then you can go down into like Piedmont, I think, in northern Italy, and you can go and you just kind of follow the trains down because it'd be like Rome, Florence, Verona, and then you go through Milan, just past Lucerne, Lake Geneva, then you go up into France and Strasbourg, Paris. So that'd be a nice one. All really nice cities. Not all more like Paris, Rome, and Florence are really popular places, but the other ones aren't as like busy. So that could be a nice one that you guys can actually have some time together. But if you're gonna, I have actually a couple of videos. Just look up Wolters World Honeymoon in Europe, and I think there's 2. I have a 5 Love and Hates and What to Know Before You Do It. That can give you some ideas and some tips.
Nick says, Jocelyn, you'd probably really like Rostov if you ever get to travel to Russia again. Lots of Orthodox churches and art there. Yeah, that came up somewhere. That town came up somewhere. I don't remember, but as in I love Byzantine art in churches. I just think they're really amazing.
Jen has a good costume. It was blooming. Hilarious. Yeah, it happens to the best of us. It happens to the best of us.
Thanks for sharing that.
So Troy, I've always thought about a blues cruise down the Mississippi River, Chicago, St. Louis, Memphis, Mississippi juke joints, and New Orleans. Yeah, that would be
that
cool.
would be a very cool trip. And you would go through Quincy, which is where we met. Brig, this is our playtime, and that thing's slimy.
Let's see. Tom Brady, boo.
All right.
Hold on. Oh, wait. Oh, that just jumped.
Icebreaker Merino Underwear. Huh. Merino. That's interesting. I would never thought about, like, that's wool. Like, although it's so soft.
Jen, busy. Did you guys hear that?
Ow!
No, Brig.
God bless
No.
America.
Climb.
Stop.
Climb.
Go.
I'm taking this. He just wants to be with me.
I broke my dang ankle.
Brigg is trying to kill her so he can have me.
It's the truth. I mean, he just, anything to get to Mark. He doesn't care that anyone else is in his way. Dag nabbit. Did y'all hear that Ryanair are now weighing people onto their plane because they realized people were wearing all their clothes onto the plane to save money in checking luggage? Well, you know, if Ryanair weren't so damn cheap, and stingy, you have to pay for everything except the air you breathe. You know, they wouldn't have to do those things. And what if people are like?
Well, the thing is that's one of the things people have talked about before. I don't know if they're actually doing it or not, Jen. Because Ryanair's got such a bad reputation, and people will say things like that.
On my nose at them, just because.
Yeah.
Oh, good morning, Eric B.
We're a couple hours from Chicago, Andy.
Somebody was talking about the DMZ in staying near the DMZ in South Korea. One of my good friends is Korean, and he was stationed up there for a long time.
So Mark Finley points out, I just checked current prices for the Europe trip we booked for next March. Prices are 50% higher than 2 months ago, and the SkyMiles rates have doubled. Sure hope I don't have to reschedule again. Yeah. Because that's one thing is if your flight gets canceled or you have to move it, it's not like you get the old price. You have to pay the new price, so you have to pay a different amount. If it's less, then you get some money back. But
Euro is saying that some airlines are not allowing day passes anymore for their lounges.
Unless you have like their credit card.
Or...
Yeah, they're trying to get people to, because credit cards, airline credit cards are just for the airlines themselves. It's just, I mean, that for them, that's why they give you all those bonus miles and all that stuff, because they're like, you use that. Most people don't pay off their credit card balance, so it's like, you know, not free money for them, but it's a good income for them on the side.
And some other people are talking about different fabrics. I think it was Peter and Melinda, and about merino wool. The other thing that is a great breathable fabric that can be worn year-round is silk, actual silk, not like the fake satiny stuff, but real silk. And I buy silk long underwear, like t-shirts. I have one that I got like at Land's End or something when I was 15, and I still have it. I still wear it. I mean, it doesn't fit me great, but I put it underneath things. But some of them are thick enough that they're not terribly see-through, and you can wear them as like a regular t-shirt too. So those are really great.
Jennifer is saying our neighbors had a party last week. It ended up on Facebook, but came from an Airbnb party. Police came. Crazy times.
Gosh, y'all are crazy up
Max
there.
Max Airbnb now is 16 guests. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye, Sandra.
Bye,
Bye,
Sandra.
Darian.
Give Charlie my love. Bye, Darian. Tell Colleen and the kids hi.
Hey, Dan Reeve.
Hello, Dan. Nice to see you. I have never worn merino underwear. That's interesting to me. Kathy, why haven't we talked about that? That's really weird.
Ginger, good morning from Wyoming. Hey, you have to send Jocelyn a message so we can have some tips for Wyoming, because we might be heading that way.
Yeah. Nick was talking about the DMZ and it got canceled because there was a flare up. Yeah, I would imagine there are a lot of places like that where it's just, you know.
Yeah, I remember there was a flare that my university used to take a bunch of students to South Korea, and the DMZ, like there was a flare up again. They had to cancel all those things. They had to do it like twice in a row. So they kind of, like, if you want to plan a trip, maybe not there because of that.
Our National Adventure said they found 50% off most European countries for next spring on Fair Drop. So that's something. Often those third party sites, though, just keep this in mind that when you book through them, if something happens, you may not have very much recourse to get back in, like get money back or something, should something happen. So that's something to keep in mind.
So Euro had a whole post about how worthless it is for Sky Miles and all those things. The thing is, with miles, it really depends how you want to use them. We basically have the miles because we like getting the free upgrades that we get with having the statuses. That's why we do most of our stuff through there. And so you collect the Sky Miles along the way. United, we used it for occasional flights, but then we had such bad experience with I bought an entire year of Christmas gifts just with the miles we had because we don't want to fly with them anymore. So you really got to figure out what's going to be worth it to you. That's why when you're looking at like the credit cards and stuff, sometimes it's better. Like I know my parents like their Sam's Club credit card because it gets like 5% back, or not 5%, but it's like cash back was worth more to them than the flights and the Sky Miles because they travel, but they don't travel that much. Like I travel all the time. So for me, getting the miles isn't about getting free stuff. It's about, hey, I get the upgrades already, so it gives me the statuses. So it really depends what you want to do with it. Like right now, there's no point for me getting miles because I've got hundreds of thousands and there's nothing I can do with them. Right. So unless I want to go buy some pennies on the dollar gift cards.
Francis says, any advice or information on a trip to Egypt? I'd love to do a nice Nile cruise at the very least someday. So Francis, actually several, and so we've got a lot of good stuff on Egypt. We just haven't been there yet, but I did look at a Nile cruise maybe 2 or 3 years ago. My aunt really, really wanted to take one, and I looked into it, and as a single woman, she and I were 2 women going together. It was going to be, daughter or niece and aunt kind of trip. We decided that it wasn't safe for us to go like that on our own, specifically on a Nile cruise at that time. I haven't looked at it in a while, but other things we were fine with the Egypt trip. It was just that particular thing that didn't seem like it was a good idea for us.
So for the budget airlines in Europe, I think everyone's kind of agreeing EasyJet's one of the best, if not the best. Vueling's also nice. Those are 2 we usually use.
Yeah.
Transavia, which is kind of a subsidiary of KLM, you get your code share miles with Delta, but their seats are rather uncomfortable, I find. So there is that.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Do you ever go camping? We go twice a year and love it. I would love to. I camped all the time as a child.
I can camp for one night and my back will hurt for 1 month. So
Mark's not big on it.
Natalie's home. Natalie Masters, hello.
Hey, Nat. I know. We need to have our girls Zoom thing. Natalie is one of my best girlfriends from high school, and the 4 of us, since COVID has happened, we have been making monthly Zoom meetings, and it has been so good for all of us. We've been through a whole lot.
So Jennifer wants to know, Jocelyn, do you have any ace vegetarian recipes? We think Verity is, I gotta say it the right. Verity has allergies because she's sick daily. We can't find anything that would be suitable for her. So
you know what? So I do have some, but before I can get all that together and share it with you, I'm just going to tell you, look into Mediterranean diets, specifically the Cretan diet. Greece does a lot of vegetarian and vegan things that are really flavorful. And that's a good place to start. Get yourself a really good Greek cookbook. I have one. My favorite one was from my Yaya's church in Arizona, but they don't make that all the time. But there's one, and I think it's the Art of Greek Cooking, and it's the Papases. And it's got like a cartoon of Yaya and Papu on the front dancing in, the kitchen kind of thing, which is so typical. But that's a fairly decent one. But Orthodox people, we fast a lot throughout the year for church things. So we give up like all sorts of stuff. Like you basically become vegan or you are vegetarian for great amounts of time. And so we have a lot of recipes.
There's no data going through.
Fit that. Oh, nuts. What is wrong?
I do not know.
Mm-hmm.
People, if you see us on there, because we got red, let us know if this is. Yeah, it still says no data. No data. Excellent condition. Okay, so we're back. Sorry, everybody. I'm going to guess Liam got up and...
Liam! Can you not watch on the interwebs? Thanks.
So I went up there and told him to watch a DVD. He's like, okay.
Oh, he's not.
So he got back on.
All right, so Jennifer, I hope you got that. Look into some Greek foods because you'll find a lot of really flavorful dishes that are vegetarian to vegan. So there's that.
Okay, they can still hear us and see you. Okay,
oh, good. All right.
So.
What? In 4 hours.
Like another hour. Why don't you put on Teen Titans Go DVD and watch some episodes?
Any DVD.
We have 400 DVDs, dude. You'll be fine.
Because I buy like $5 DVDs.
Yes. So I want to get back to the low-cost airlines kind of stuff because some good points being made. Nick Barnett points out Transavia will hurt your knees if you're taller than 5'5". It's true.
Because I'm 5'3" and I'm almost...
Which is just so uncomfortable. But someone else is saying you know what you're going to get. Like that's the thing is you kind of plan it out that way. No internet. Okay. You kind of plan it out. It's kind of like, look, I can deal with Ryanair. When I have no other choice, I'm like, look, I'm just going for the hour flight, the 2 hour flight. Like, if you have the mentality for that, it'll be fine. But if you have the mentality, like, I want to have a nice flying experience or I want to have, like, customer care or whatever, then you gotta, hey, you just gotta, like, look, you get what you pay for. You're paying next to nothing for the flight. Right. So just know it's, as people say, it's a bus with wings. You're just going public transportation from one place to another.
And that's how I feel about Allegiant. Like, I wouldn't even fly them because it's so bad. But that's just me. And Mo was asking about Aer Lingus and if anyone had problems. So I've never had an issue on Aer Lingus, but I've only flown them a couple of times.
I never had any issues. I've flown a lot of times too.
I will say this, that there tends to be, and I don't exactly know why, but there tends to be a lot of kids on Aer Lingus. So be aware that
it can be loud.
It can be loud and whatever, but it's kids. They're on a plane. What are you going to do? Most kids are not able to sit for 7 hours. But that's, just keep that kind of in mind. So
yeah. Otherwise, because when I've flown it was fun. I've flown there from the U.S. I've flown there from Europe and stuff, and I didn't have any really problems. But it is true there was a lot more kids on those flights. It was funny. Let's see. Oh, also Euro saying that one of the big issues with Aer Lingus is the local flights. It wasn't timed very well, so you can't connect to flights beyond Dublin. Yeah, that's one of those things. Sometimes you look at it and say, man, I remember when I used to fly to Lithuania, there was no direct flights. I'd fly to London and have like 8 hour layover until I could go. So I just go into London for the day. But sometimes you can't do that.
Yes. Galvin Gals points this out that Virgin has larger seats and you can use your Delta miles.
See, but I've had the opposite experience when I flew the Virgin Atlantic. From Atlanta to there, it has the fold down trays and they fold out again that you have on like local planes. That's what I had. I was so uncomfortable because it was so close. I couldn't eat. I not usually have flights, but luckily there was nobody else in my row because I was going in February, so I had some space. So sometimes it really just depends what flight you're on. Now, if you're like, as they say, upper class on Virgin Atlantic, it's nice. They're nice. They like do it up like full bar and stuff. It's really nice. Nick likes Aegean Airways is my favorite for flying either within Greece, between Greece and anywhere else. Yeah, they're fine. We had a nice time with them.
Yeah, Aegean has never let me down. It's always been fine. Although I have to say, the first time I flew from Hania to Thessaloniki, and I tell you what, that prop plane had to have been built in the 50s. I mean, truly, like it had new seats. But dang, nothing else is new on it. But that was more than 15 years ago. And but I was like, we're not gonna make it. My dad's sitting next to me. He's laughing. He thought it was hilarious. But anyway, so Aegean is pretty decent. Dress in layers. Weather changes frequently. It's very windy. I don't know where you're talking about, but. Generally speaking, that's never a bad idea. So, do you fly to Chicago or...
No. We try to... All the time we do Chicago, the deals are like incredible. Otherwise,
we try to avoid O'Hare
we'll
at
fly other
all.
ones just to get just not to use
Yeah.
O'Hare.
And Midway is fine. Parking at Midway super sucks. It's kind of like I feel like
you have to drive through the city to get to. There's not like a highway.
You have to drive through town, and it's kind of a pain. However, Midway as an airport, in my opinion, is more like on a human scale than O'Hare. But we just tried to fly other places, so.
Yeah, Mr. Dan, 242W. Good to hear you. Good to see you on here, buddy. I tried to schedule based on Flight Guru's seating dimensions, but the airlines are changing the flights so much now. Yeah, that's the thing. In normal times, Flight Guru or Seat Guru is really good for letting you know like what you would get, especially if you're tall or husky. They could be lifesavers.
How do you?
Yeah, premium on Gallivant and Gals. Yeah, premium on Virgin Atlantic is really nice. So yeah, I mean it's night and day. Like I can see why they get ranked so high because you have one of those upgrades. I've been in their lounge in Heathrow a few times because with Delta with my status I get to go in there for free.
Chris says I used to travel all the time for work. The constant routine lately has dug a huge rut in my office. How do you fight depression? I never really get depressed, but now I find TGIF every week. So
yeah.
A lot of it is getting out. I know you ride your bike a lot. Try to do it in the morning before you go to work, or try to do it when you get home from work. Get your family involved. Being out exercising is hugely helpful. Just keep moving. Lately, I had a really bad couple of weeks about a month or so ago, and getting out, Mark made me get up every day and walk with him. Like he wouldn't let me sit, and that was a huge
and that's a tough thing when you're depressed. You just want to like lay around do nothing, and then it just kind of like piles on. Like I have to go do something, and sometimes that's why it's good to like just go for the walk, or I have to go do it. Like every morning I get up, or Monday through Friday I get up. Even if I don't want to go, I go and swim laps. Even if I only go for like 20 minutes or 15 minutes, at least I'm getting up out of the house and going and starting the day to do something. And that's the thing to do, but it's just getting yourself up to go. So
it's that, energy begets energy. So that's a huge thing. Also for me lately, I read a 600-page book in 2 days this week. Actually, I read an 800-page book 2 weeks ago. I mean, I've just been like devouring books, and it helps me to sort of escape the realistic part of my life that sucks. So I've been reading things that I really enjoy by authors I enjoy, and that has helped me a whole lot. This has helped, and live things with all of you guys has made things a lot better. It's hard though, because like the people I would normally turn to, we'd have friends over if things kind of get slow or whatever, and we can't really do that. We've had some friends over, and we've had like dinner parties outside where we have another couple or whatever, we're eating outside at a big table. But it's hard, and we're all there with you. So yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, people are talking about Turkish Airlines and their theme song, which gets stuck in your head. Yes, I'm not going to sing it because then we'll all be singing it the rest of the day. You can Google that and on your own time and hate me later for that.
I got you, G. Anderson. The dress and layers comment was for Wyoming. Mm-hmm.
With Flybe gone, I'm going to have a hard time looking for decent price flights within the UK. They flew from Belfast City Airport, which closed to me instead of going to International Airport 40 minutes away. Yeah, like that's one of the things you're going to see a lot. I mean, because the thing is, a lot of these airlines, a lot of these tours and things, they kind of plan like, okay, by the fall things will be back to normal or normal-ish, and it hasn't happened. So the long-term ramifications, I mean, it's going to be years.
Oh, Laura says, I want to go for a walk this morning, but the air quality here is unhealthy. I live in Sacramento. I thought that when we were in Beijing, there were days I didn't take my children outside the hotel. It was
and we were
so
like
bad.
In a 10 foot by 10 foot.
All right, let me tell you about getting a little depression. On top of it, I couldn't really communicate with anyone. Beijing was a challenge, but it was a challenge because we were there doing something very unusual compared to others. Because we were literally living there, but we were living in a hotel. And that was difficult. So.
Jen, I'm glad we could help you during the lockdown. This has helped us so much too.
Yep.
Francis wants to tell Jocelyn, one does not simply turn down a Tolkien masterpiece. We have to do it with the thing. One does not simply turn down. There's a meme for that. It's pretty fun. The gals are off. See you later, gals.
Bye, ladies. See you later.
Thank you, Music and Midlife. I'm glad we could help out.
Yeah, these streams have been really great for a lot of us, I think.
Yeah, Lisa says you don't sound very hopeful about 2021 travel. I'm not. I think people will be traveling again. I don't think the industry. Cautiously optimistic. The industry, I don't think, is going to come back like people think. It's not going to be bounced back to where it was in 2019. That's for sure. Because you're going to have there's so many airlines because they have to announce their schedules now, and so you'll see like they've cut back quite a bit even for next year. And I think Delta did the right thing when they said, look, your airline, you can use your stuff till September 2022, because a lot of people when their flights get canceled, like, oh, you can use your flight miles through the end of the year, and so people thought, oh, I'll just go in the fall, and now the fall's here and we still can't travel so much, so it is kind of tough.
Yeah, I do want to say this, that Gallivant and Gals have a live feed tomorrow night. I think it's at 8 Eastern. I'm not positive. Don't quote me on the time, but you can catch
go to
them
because
live
I think
tomorrow
things
night.
up so you can
and
see.
Darian will have one. Magnificent Germany with Darian. He'll be on tonight.
Well, he was on last night.
Oh, it was last night.
I watched a little bit, but I didn't.
Sorry.
Darian already took off.
Oh, he did. I miss all of that. I'm honestly been buried in a book.
Good night, Pink Lady.
I've been buried in all the books.
Andy, yeah, we'll be back to China in the future. I'm sure about that.
Yeah, it will happen. There's a lot that we didn't get to see, despite being there for 2 months.
So Francis is hoping to travel in fall 2021, and I'm hoping the prices aren't going to kill my dreams. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is the thing. This is like the unprecedented word gets thrown around a lot, but it's very much true. We're going to see what happens next year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what we can do is just plan a lot of different ones, so you have some fun kind of planning things out, and then whatever one you can do, you do.
Yeah, and Sue says, I'm still planning, saving money and thinking I'll have a longer, more amazing trip to come.
Hopefully, maybe.
Yeah,
yes.
I think that that's, a good way to look at it. And I think we're saving money because we haven't been anywhere in a month of Sundays. So yeah, that's something. But all right. It's so cute. I want to make Verity laugh. I just have to find a video with Jocelyn laughing at some point, and Verity cracks up. Is it because my voice is so funny? Yeah.
So favorite train station. Sao Bento in Porto, because they have blue azulejos tiles in the main hall, and it's just gorgeous, and outside too, it's just a gorgeous train station.
It's a really beautiful building. In Berlin, the Hauptbahnhof in Berlin is just like
a glass.
It's a cool building architecturally, but I also feel like I could get in it. You feel like you could go anywhere in the world from that. Like, I don't know why. There's an energy about that particular building that just you can get anywhere, and I think that's really cool. So, all right, let's see. Air France KLM will feed you on any flight. BA though, $2.50, £2.50 for a cup of coffee. Well, there are a lot of those like that. A lot of American-based airlines, they don't give you any free stuff until after 6 hours, and they have to feed you.
Some will give you a drink and a snack.
Well, yeah,
but yeah, I think it's 6 hours when they actually
have to feed you. But like Delta has always been pretty good about a Coke and
your cookies
and a cookie, your Biscoff cookies. So yeah. Ooh, hang on. Somebody's going to Tahiti. Hang on. We flew Air France business class to Tahiti, and it blew BA business class out of the water.
Yeah, Air France's business class. So I was with my parents for Christmas markets. This is a couple of years ago. And we, with my staff, we all got upgraded. It was amazing because it was like middle of December before the Christmas holidays were started, so there's nobody on the plane. So they're like, Mr. Walters, could you please come up? So I come up, and they're like, yes, can you give us your tickets? So I gave my tickets, my parents' tickets. They're like, okay, thank you. And they gave us tickets back. I'm like, oh, we moved. And then it was like, business class. And then it was like, we had like duck and all kinds of stuff. And my dad had just had, this is like his second big trip after he had cancer and all that stuff, and so he was still like nervous about flying. He's like, and he got to lay down. It really helped him out. The people were so nice. The flight attendant, like, my parents had never been business class for going to Europe or coming back from Europe, so they were the Air France flight attendant was so helpful and so kind to them. And she's like, well, if you're gonna get the duck, you want this one, And then like when I have a wine, she's like, no, this is the better one. Then she's like, no, now you want to have this wine because this is the better just drinking while you're sitting here wine. So nice, but the lady was so nice. It was just a really great experience. So I mean, the only problem with Air France is the strikes, but usually when you're flying international like the U.S., those ones usually don't get hit by the strikes. It's the other, like going to other parts of Europe, ones that get canceled and stuff, because the transatlantic ones are such like more money makers. You got more people on there. So let's see. Oh, Francis says the train station at CC is nice. That's true. Our friend goes there a lot. He said the same thing. Vagabondy, good to see you. Planning trips and the anticipation is a huge part of the experience. It really is. I get excited trying to plan trips, and then when I can't do them, it gets kind of depressing. But I just plan other trips. I'm like, well, what if I do this? Or make some alternative plans. That can really help out. Let's see. I'm trying to see some. Jennifer Benzie, which language would you love schools to be teaching kids? For in the U.S., I think Spanish. Like my oldest doesn't have Spanish in his new schedule, his new school, and I'm like, I want to call on Monday to see if I can switch him to get him into Spanish because he took it and he really liked it, and did well. I'm like, that's a really good language to know. But I think one of the things is wherever you do live, you want to learn the language of a neighboring country, just because you're more likely going to bump into them. So, yeah, Berlin. My mom says, yeah, Berlin is good. Berlin train station is good if you aren't afraid of heights. Yeah, because it's got all the glass and the open-sided escalators. That could be a little scary for some people. I know that one. Don't let your kids run around at that one because it's a little like there's too many like whoopsie kind of places. So be careful with that. Let's see. Yeah, ich kann Deutsch. It's kein Problem. I can speak German. I did my master's in German. A long time since I spoke it all the time, but give me a week back in Germany, it'll all come back.
A week back, my foot.
Def Leppard rules rock. Do you think that'll be finally safe to travel abroad again when the COVID vaccine is available? I think eventually it'll be safe even if there is no vaccine, just because how people habits are, and we know how not to transmit stuff and be safe. So I think there's some hope in the future. Lushy77, is there a country you regret or was hard bringing your kids to? So there's not really many places I regret taking the kids. I know like when we were in Switzerland, the kids were treated really badly. I was really unhappy with that. That's the only place that I really felt the kids got shafted. And that was just Caleb because Liam wasn't around. Or Liam was a baby, so he didn't really notice. Yeah.
Yeah, but we noticed.
Yeah, we noticed.
We got the dirty looks all the time.
Yeah, and then I think some other ones. Like Vegas, I really don't think Vegas is for taking your kids, to be honest. There's just, in normal times, because there's too many people handing out the like call girl tickets and stuff like that, and drunk people, and everyone's trying to relive the Hangover movies and stuff. So, I mean, the thing is, Las Vegas done a good job to make it more of a family-friendly destination. So they got stuff to do, but
it's more the stuff on the streets that's not cool. About us taking our kids to Amsterdam, people are always shocked that we've done that.
Because I think people are smoking up dope everywhere, and it's not the case. It's like, the red light district, maybe don't go after 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, so don't go through the red light district with your kids. And you will smell pot, but your kids don't know what it is. And
if you walk through some towns in the U.S., some place in the U.S, it's legal. They'll smoke there
Montreal.
Too. Seattle.
We were in Montreal, and we were like, whoa! Caleb was like, I think a skunk died. Like,
that's right.
Yes, it was a skunk.
That's why they. In my mind, I'm like, yeah. When you're like 15 and have this joke, I'm like, that's why they call it skunk weed.
Oh, so funny. Yeah. There are not many.
Bye,
places.
Sue.
See you later. There are not many places that I wouldn't take my kids back to, generally speaking. We're talking about different languages. Yeah.
There's different ones because I know
Well, once you get one of the Latin languages down, if you can
Romance languages.
The Romance languages. If you can get one of those down pretty well, The others you'll be able to like figure out. Like you'll be able to read things. That's why for me, I was taught the sisters. We had a lot of Latin and Greek roots and in my stuff, and so I can read things and kind of get the gist of what it's saying, just because I understand what those basics are. So that would be very cool.
So Jean Cube is trying to learn Spanish now through Duolingo and Pimsleur. Learned some Greek through Pimsleur, but quite difficult through Duolingo because of the different alphabet. Yeah. Like Greek...
I'm going to agree with the Pimsleur. I've used Pimsleur for Greek, and I like the way it's broken up and you do some words like backward and stuff because it sticks in your head in a different way. I do like that. But Greek is tough because of the alphabet. Anytime you're getting a new alphabet, it makes it more difficult.
But then, like with the Russian alphabet, once you know the letters, then you can sound out the words. It's surprising how so many times when you sound out the word, you're like, oh, that's that. And it makes kind of sense to yourself. Like when you say it, when you read it out loud. Not when you read it, but you read it out loud to yourself. You hear it like, oh, that's what that is. I got it.
Jennifer said, my friend and I were jumped when we were in Nice. It was horrible. That doesn't surprise me. I did not like Nice at all. I never need to go back there.
I have a 511 Hates of Nice video that I found. I had not uploaded. It's from a few years ago, and that's one of the things. Is like some places you feel really uncomfortable, especially by the train station. Yeah, so I can understand.
Traveling the World says, I am back after doing farmers market shopping in Chicago suburbs since I live in the burbs. Thank you for mentioning it. Yeah, you know what? Our farmers market is still going strong down here, and Peter Payne, I think, was saying that he was missing a good farmers market, but ours is still on and
still rocking
doing
and rolling
really well. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I feel like a lot of people, I for one had a garden for the first time since I don't know when. Like I think it was kind of my first garden ever, really. At least since I lived in Savannah, and even then I only grew a pot of tomatoes. Simply because we're never home to take care of a garden. I'm not able to do that, but we have been rolling in the cucumbers this year, and I've got a bunch of zucchini out there. So that's something I should do, zucchini flowers, fried zucchini flowers. That's one of my favorite things that we eat in Rome. Every time we go to Rome, we get fried zucchini flowers.
That's right.
So good.
So Francis was talking about going to Iraq, and there was Afghanistan stuff. Yeah, Indigo Traveler does go to a lot of those places and has a lot of things to help people out to give an idea what you should expect if you're going to go. I mean, you got to be really careful when you're going to go. I mean, Mo was in Iraq in 2012, and it was a major eye-opener. There were many close calls there, so to give it some time. Yeah, I mean, a lot of places. And that's the thing is, in terms of safety, places that were, like we go to Nicaragua, El Salvador, which for a lot of Americans is like, you can't go there. And there's still some issues there, I'm not going to lie. Like El Salvador, you got to be careful. Nicaragua is a place you got to be careful. But in general, you can go as a tourist again, but people just have this perception like, yeah, I can never go. It's like we went to Rwanda. People were like, how could you go there to the genocide? I'm like, that was 26 years ago. And you have to you always want to keep up because places that were safe sometimes turn not to be safe. There's places in the U.S. I'm not going to go. And there's places in Europe I'm not going to go. And there's places in other places, but but there's also places that 10 years ago I probably wouldn't have gone. And now I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So you always want to kind of keep yourself abreast of what's going on.
Yeah, pay attention to what's happening in their news. You can often get news from certain places and just hit a translate key. So that's really helpful. Iraq is somewhere that I would really like to go. We studied a lot of stuff in my architectural history classes there, and it's a very culturally rich place, and I'd love to go, but I'm not going for a while. So there's that.
So let's try to stay out of the political talk, guys, for the last few things there.
Yeah.
Some other things.
All right.
Oh, hour and a half in. So, we'll probably go for another 15 minutes or so. And, okay, so Laura says, what place would you not recommend for female solo travelers? That is definitely one. If you're in major cities, most places usually okay. It's neighborhoods you want to watch out for, or times of day, which is sad that female solo travelers and travelers know, but solo female travelers have to be careful with. It's really about knowing your surroundings and being comfortable. I mean, do you want to talk about this?
Well, so Your eyes for. We say this in Greek all the time. You have your eyes in front of you and behind you. Pay attention to a lot of stuff that's going on around you. But, you know, I often feel better in crowded places than I do where there are very few people. Not that I have to be like in super crowded places.
No, because that goes happens and you get freaked out.
Right. Like I don't like the crowd under the Eiffel Tower. We go every time because our kids love to play at this little park and it's just sort of a family tradition. But we go around the thing because I'm like hyperventilating practically when I get in the middle of that. Culturally, when you look at a place and it is very male dominated, there are times I have felt uncomfortable where Mark and the boys didn't think anything of it. But or maybe I got cat calls and things like that. But cat call's a cat call. But the look behind it is what is kind of scary. And there have been places where I haven't felt comfortable. And so pay attention, research the culture and how women are treated generally. Like we in America think that we have a lot of problems with the equality between the sexes, and I have been to a lot of places where it is significantly worse, and those are the places generally where I am much more on my guard. I don't like to go alone. I don't necessarily need a man, but I would like to have just another person with me. So yeah, that's my feeling on that.
So Euroeyes question: what are your opinions on going to Naples, Italy? Make it a day trip while you're staying on the Amalfi Coast. That's my opinion on that. Be careful when you're taking your trains. Lots of pickpockets and stuff. Follow the locals when you're crossing the road.
I don't love Naples. Like there's a great museum. You should maybe get some pizza, but
castle.
Yeah, the castle, I guess. So
Jennifer, I don't use a pocket translator. I might occasionally. I guess occasionally.
Mark is a pocket. Mark's my pocket translator. Mark has a gift for languages. It's just a God-given thing. He picks up very easily, and so yeah, you're so good, and I love you for it. Who said that? Our National Adventure says, I love your mantle, super cute. Thanks. I'm a huge fan of that wallpaper. Like it's my old lady wallpaper, and I love every bit of it. I love wallpaper.
So Francis, one of the things I actually did like in Naples, just walking through the streets and everyone was drying their sheets because we were there like on a nice summer, or I guess it was a spring day. This is before that when I went with my parents. This is a long time ago, and the sheets were like hanging, and everybody was drying their stuff that day. So let's see, hummus and zucchini bread. I've got to try it. Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad.
Francis has been doing a lot of baking zucchini bread in the oven. Ooh, zucchini bread sounds really good.
So Lushy, how did you like Poland, Mark? So I used to go to Poland a lot when I worked in Lithuania, and the road system is much better now than it was when I used to work there because driving around was such a pain. But in general, Poland, for me, the city stuff to see, Krakow, Gdansk, Warsaw. Warsaw is only, because Warsaw got destroyed, like wiped out. They rebuilt it, so you really see the pride of the Polish people there and how they rebuilt it. But like for me, Gdansk and Krakow are the two best places to visit when you're there. I've been to a few other like Lublin and Łódź, and Katowice is nice. But a lot of people like to go to Zakopane and the Tatras Mountains to go skiing because it's a lot cheaper to ski there than it is like in Austria or Switzerland. So some stuff to do. We've had a lot of fans from Poland over the years. And when I used to live in Berlin, I had a bunch of Polish friends, and we'd hang out and go over across the water from Frankfurt onto Oder and go over around there and have a good time. So,
Vagabondy says this was supposed to be a year to step out of my comfort zone for travel. Booked India and an African safari, but when I can travel internationally again, I think I'll go back to my comfort zone of Europe. Let me tell you something, Vagabondy. You should still go on that African safari because that is one of the highlight trips of our lives. I mean, we loved awesome. Rwanda and Tanzania. Every time we get on here, we talk about it. And I never once, there was one night I felt uncomfortable because our tent hotel was next to a spring. And so it was very busy one night and there were lots of animals and it kept me up. They all slept. I mean, they woke up when the buffalo bumped the tent. But I was up until like 4 a.m. thinking I was going to crap my pants because I was so afraid. So but minus that minute, make sure you're not staying somewhere by the water, and you're probably okay. It was just a really incredible trip. Just so enriching, and the time we spent with the people, we got to visit a bunch of different indigenous people, and nomadic people, and things that it was
an amazing experience.
opened your eyes. It was really, really incredible. Mo asks, what maps do you use for your travels? Google Maps, City Mapper are my favorites. I download the cities in case I have no Wi-Fi.
Maps.me.
Yeah, I use Maps.me, which is similar, where you can download it ahead of time, and you can zoom in and out even if you don't have Wi-Fi.
Yeah, then Google Maps for that. But Google Maps directions outside, I found in Europe, are not very good. Like, I don't know their walking speed or their driving speed never correlates to how long everything is. So it's fine for like turn left, right, but don't count on the time. Well, inside Lauren's brain, I'm glad we could help out a little bit today. So that's nice.
Oh,
Andy, yes, Andy, we do understand the British accent. But if you go up to like northern Scotland, that's the Highland accent's a bit like pay attention.
Sometimes I do better with like the Highland accent than certain accents in England. Like where was Dave from?
Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool kicks my butt a lot. I mean,
Really?
I don't know why. I think that David had some words that didn't exist in my vocabulary, and that might have just because it was Dave. Like, that's who he was.
So, Finance Amy Fresh, good to have you back. Jocelyn, is there a recipe from your travels that you'd love to learn but haven't yet?
Oh, no.
I want to learn that banana peanut thing from Rwanda. That was amazing.
So, I have searched and searched and searched for an East African cookbook. I have one, but it doesn't have much from Rwanda. And I looked when I was in Rwanda to find, so we were shocked at how much we loved the food there. I mean, that was not something we had expected, but we really did like the food. So if anyone sees a Rwandan cookbook, let me know. Please message me on Facebook or Instagram or whatever and let me know, because I really want a Rwandan cookbook. I couldn't even find one I was there. So, well, I mean, I are all in Kenya Rwandan, and I can't read or speak that. So,
yeah, smoked bell peppers with hummus is nice. I do like that. Francis, I've also had the horse in Verona. I had the ragu one. We've also had like the dry shredded kind. Caleb really liked that one. So you just got to be open-minded when you're trying foods in other countries. So that is one thing.
Inside Lauren's brain, made dinner for her parents the other day. Crab cakes, Denver omelet, casserole, and blueberry mousse. Blueberry mousse sounds exceptional. I might do that this week. You want that?
Sure.
Where's the notebook, baby?
Oh,
find the notebook. Let's write down blueberry mousse.
Thanks, Lauren.
Yeah. Francis said that she tried horse in Verona. It was interesting. Yeah, so Verona is known for horse. They actually raise them like we would raise cattle and things
for everywhere.
Food. And it's not. But Verona is like sort of like the place that
it's known for that.
It's known for. Not my jam. I ate it. It was fine. And actually, we had that at some friend's house. Their mother did that, and it was fine. It's not like my favorite kind of thing. So anyway,
Excuse me.
Traveling the world. Where in Russia did you go into? St. Petersburg. Mark's also been to Moscow.
Yeah, and then the cruise stuff between the two.
Tips and info for Russian visas. So Russian visas are not cheap, and you need to do them well in advance. But we
take that.
Okay, go ahead.
So there is the 72-hour visa free you can do going into St. Petersburg. You can do that, but it's only with certain airlines you can do that. What I would recommend is go through a service that will do it for you, because you have to have a recommendation letter or an invitation letter and all kinds of stuff. It's a pain. It's like Chinese visa. Just have a company do it. Pay to have it done, because if you mess up, you're going to have to pay again. So just have them do that. That would be my advice. In some places that did have, and here's one thing is always check if you need to get a visa, because you might not realize that sometimes they switch. Now you have to have it. Like Europeans coming here we have the ESTA system, they have to register. Well, now starting next year, Europe will have that. Americans have to register beforehand for like an e-visa as well. So that's another thing. I mean, I don't know if they've postponed it, because I have a feeling that some of these things they might postpone because they'll be like, oh, COVID, so we'll push it back. You're like, Real ID in the U.S. was supposed to start this September, then it's not going to start until next October. and I'll have a video about that. But I'll talk about some of those things. So, Midnight Museum in Lucca, yeah.
Jennifer says, I have friends from Rwanda want me to ask for a recipe or two. Absolutely.
Yes,
if you will send me anything. Everything we ate there was so good.
Yeah, I mean, you go vegetarian in Rwanda, not because of anything, like just the food there is mostly vegetarian. It's so flavorful. It's amazing.
Hey, that's something to try for Verity too. See if you can't get some great Rwandan recipes because, oh, damn, it was good food. Jocelyn, what made you choose to be a stay-at-home mom? I'm thinking about doing the same. So I didn't choose to be a stay-at-home mom. My background is in historic preservation and architectural history. So when we moved here for Mark's job, I looked around. There really weren't any preservation jobs. I worked on the board of an Orpheum museum. It was a children's museum. It was in an old Orpheum theater.
And it's a museum that is going out of business because of COVID, so it's not coming back.
It's already out.
Yeah, it's already out.
And then I was on the board of our regional architectural preservation group. That's all there really was for me here. This town is not...
It's more of a tear it down and build something new.
It's not preservation minded. I mean, they do some, but it's not like Quincy is very preservation forward. Savannah, Charleston, like there are a lot of places that do it really well and they just don't here. And so there just isn't much work for me. And now at this point with Wolters World and what we do, I travel. Nobody's going to hire me. Like, we're good friends with the manager of Barnes & Noble because I think we sometimes keep their doors open just by how much we shop there. But he's always like, why don't you work for me? I'm like, because you can't hire me
for like 3 weeks at a time.
3 weeks a month or 2 weeks a month, and he's like, you know what? I can't. But do you want to just... Because people come and talk to me, they think I work there. I mean, I don't know how many people I direct around Barnes & Noble. I'm like, oh, this is a great book. You really need to try this. So, that's like, I don't know. It's just not, it wasn't a choice. It was an accident. And it worked out because I can do stuff to help Mark, and I can...
No, you do your own thing. So I mean, she has her own, like, she does the Facebook for Wolters World, and so she's not, it's not that she's stay home doing, she's working, doing that stuff.
Yeah,
so.
And I volunteer a lot. And all of my life, volunteerism has been a big thing for me, and I'm able to do it more. So that's it.
So Ginger's asked a few times, any feedback on flying on a budget? So booking early, being, when you look for flights, do the one where it lets you have open days on other sides, so it gives you like a week so you can try different days and it'll just give you all the different prices on there for that. You can sign up for alerts like Kayak and Skyscanner have, where you can I want to go here and here. If a price gets low, send me a thing and they'll tell you, hey, there's a deal going on right now. Be open to using other airlines. Like, I know we fly Delta all the time because we have the status, but if you really want to do budget, you're not flying a lot, you don't need to be credit like airplane specific or airline specific. You find those deals and do that, because sometimes, I mean, the flights, sometimes I can't justify a Delta code share when it's like $400 more, when there's 4 of us. When that's $1,600. I mean, I can't do it for certain flights, but sometimes, okay, we will take this other airline. So you have to think about that.
Mo says his accent is slowly changing to Northern Irish one. You know what? It's funny. I'm a natural mimic. I don't mean to, but mine will sort of change based on where I am. But Mo has been in Ireland for a really long time, so that doesn't surprise me.
Damien, thank you. ETIAS, basically the e-visa system for Americans, isn't going to go until the end of 2022 now. Okay, thanks. Thank you very much.
That's good info.
Yeah, because because I had people like 2 years ago that when they started talking about that, they're like, I'm not going to Europe. I don't have to get that. I'm like, it's not going for a little while. So... So Finance Amy Fresh, have you taken a river cruise? If so, did it fit within your style of travel? I've done coastal cruises and stuff like that, which are like river cruises. It's not really my jam. I like more of the independent nature of it. I can see why people do enjoy it though, because everything's planned out for you. Your food's already taken care of. You could just go and explore if you want to do the trips. I like the river cruises because you're getting off in town, so even if you don't want to do the pay extra city tour, you can still explore the city on your own. and you're close by. Whereas if you're doing like the ocean cruise, you got to get out to the ocean terminal and stuff like that. It's like when they have like Rome as one of the stops on a cruise. You're not in Rome. You're in a terminal that's way, 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 way away from Rome, and you got to figure out your way to get in there. So you're kind of like stuck doing the excursions they have you have.
Jennifer Benzie says, you had a really helpful video for folk in wheelchairs. My hubby has MS. He is not in a wheelchair yet, but do you know any places that are seat friendly or no walking friendly?
Japan, South Korea. Also, I would say Scandinavia is really good.
America.
The U.S. and Canada. U.S. is the best. I'll be honest with you. Canada's good.
I was going to say Ireland didn't seem too bad.
Ireland, well, some things aren't going to be tough, but Ireland has a good system to help people out. Actually, we were going to take a group of wheelchair, limited mobility students to Ireland a few years ago, but then it kind of fell through because we couldn't get things to work, which was sad. But yeah.
Traveling the world, we have this set up so that people can't put links on because people have put naughty links on our lives before. So I know it's a lot of work, and I appreciate that you've looked. If you could put it, like, send me a message on Simply Jocelyn or on Wolters World on Facebook or whatever, I would really appreciate that.
Yeah, you'll probably have to do a DM direct message for that.
Yeah.
Francis, 50% of my research is fine at decent flights. Yeah, decent flights.
And I think that's a smart way to research.
Well, once we have that, like, all right, we're in.
Yeah.
Peter Payne, I supposedly got a weird German accent when sober and get more and more Scottish the more I get plastered. It happens to us all. Don't you worry about that. Andy, we've only driven through New Jersey. Have not stopped.
Mm-mm.
Francis, I have a typical Michigan accent, which is basically Canadian.
You know what's funny? So my aunt is from Saskatchewan, and she married my uncle who lived in northern Minnesota, and her accent got worse the longer they were married, which I think is pretty funny.
Yeah, Mo's like, my English decides what accent it wants to be, depending on the last language I spoke. Flips between Persian, Arabic, then English is a little American, Irish. Yeah, I think it is funny. Like when you speak a foreign language, what accent do you have? Because I've lived in Europe for 12 years in total, and Europeans learn British English, but 80 to 90% of the time they have American accents when they speak, probably because the stuff. And then when I speak Spanish, apparently I have more of a Mexican accent.
So Mexican.
But I live like in Argentina and Portugal, and I know that's Portuguese, but like it's funny. And then when I speak Portuguese go, oh, that sounds Brazilian. The Brazilian go, oh, it sounds like it's a little bit of a Portuguese.
And my Portuguese is straight up Portuguese. Like there is no Brazilian to it at all. It's all slushy and everything. And it's terrible. It's even worse now. But it's funny how I don't understand some of the words coming from one or the other. But I probably hear Brazilian Portuguese better than I hear Portuguese, although that's what I speak.
Jennifer, I go Welsh when I get drunk. No idea why. So you just like get rid of all the vowels and just talk, I only speak consonants at the
Welsh
time.
accent with English. So, and I get Southern. If I drink, I will start speaking to you Southern.
If she's drinking and she's talking about the South. And she talks about Savannah, and then it gets even more.
It gets worse.
FYI.
And I don't know why.
Hey Roxanne, thanks for joining up with us.
Oh, you have a keto-friendly mousse.
Yeah, that's what she was going to.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, please send that.
Would be cool. Yeah,
very helpful.
Excuse me. So when I do recipes, by the way, on Simply Jocelyn, they're all things that I have cooked at least several times before. They're not things I don't just I'm not experimenting and sending them out to you. So when people have asked for specific things or have given me their version, I usually take that and make it my own version. I can't steal somebody else's stuff. Yeah.
So Lewis asks, hey, coming from England, I dream of living in America. From your travels, where was the most desirable place to live in the U.S.? People like to live in the Southeast. That's where a lot of people go to retire because of the weather. And the Southwest. Those are two popular places people like to go and retire and vacation. But you got beautiful spots. New England's beautiful, but it's really cold in the winter, so it's great for a summer vacation. Mm-hmm. Same thing if you're looking at the Mountain West, the Pacific Northwest. Summer's a much better time to go. Mm-hmm. So, and to visit. So we're almost at 2 hours. So we're gonna have 5 more minutes. We'll get some more questions in. Then we'll head out.
Troy's back. I've always wondered how I sound speaking Arabic with a southern U.S. accent. My German friends would rather I speak English for the southern drawl. That's funny. I can imagine what that's like, because when you come from somewhere with a very strong accent and then you're speaking another language, it makes it even better. It's funny. So.
Yep. Let's see. Francis, Downton Abbey helped with the accents. I mean, that's what I picture as the typical British accent. So the Downton Abbey accent is kind of
there's a lot of Scots in that too.
Yeah, it's a good prep. It's a good prep. You're right. It's a good prep.
Laura says, watching movies set in England, sometimes I have to rewind and rewatch what's being said and look up the slang. So the slang is what kills me in a lot of languages, particularly Mexican Spanish, because they have words that don't exist in any other Spanish anywhere, and it kills me. I'm like, the what? Like, that always throws me. But yeah.
So Gene Cube, saw your Vegas videos. Thank you very much. We really aren't gamblers, but got a round trip ticket to for $92. Yeah, you got to buy that.
Oh yeah.
Couldn't pass up the deal. Never been or seniors and don't do the party thing. We don't do the party thing, and we don't do gambling either. But
so many shows.
Tons of shows. Tons of if the shows are happening. But the food for me, the food in Vegas is phenomenal. You will eat so well when you're there. And go check out our buddies Tanya and Dave, Turn It Up World. They do live feeds from there all the time, so you can see what it's like, usually in the evening time. So, and they live in Texas, but they go to Vegas quite often because they have Southwest that flies there, so they get the really cheap deals too. So check them out. But yeah, there's some good stuff. I mean, honestly, I gambled once when I was there just to get the free beer, and I gambled like on the nickel slots, and I probably spent $5 to get a $5 beer. So I was like broke even. So there was that.
Stephen Leibovitz says, where do you think Liam and Caleb's first trip without the parents will be? Wherever they go to study abroad, you think?
Maybe. I would imagine probably like Mexico for spring break, their freshman year or something like that with their friends. I could see something like that.
But I could
for
see...
Liam.
Oh, Liam's obsessed with Mexico. He absolutely loves it.
I could see Caleb like doing a backpack around Africa.
Oh yeah,
I could see Caleb doing that.
Oh yeah, Caleb. I mean, if he could choose anywhere in the world to go right this minute, he'd go back to Rwanda.
Yeah, we said such. And traveling well, the Rwandan recipe really want. It's a banana peanut, like it's not a stew. It's like
it is. It's like
it kind of reminds me if you ever have. Well, it's like if you ever have Indian food and you have like a tikka masala or something like it comes in the bowl. It's got the sauce in it, but imagine the banana is the meat. It's a bowl. Yeah, a bowl. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, and their Rwandan chicken.
Oh, that was I forgot that was so
good. That first hotel that one night.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And they were sweet because we got in really late, and they
opened it up for us to feed us.
The
beer was pretty good too. Actually,
they looked at our kids and they're like, "Oh, these children need to eat," and they fed us, and they were just so kind.
Thank you, Ginger. You guys have a great day too, and thanks for all the tips on Wyoming too. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Jennifer, the boyfriend I had before my hubby thought I was from South Africa. I couldn't break the dream, so I had to be really drunk when I saw him. That was never going to last. No, Jen, that's true. That was just not going to last.
I thought I was from South Africa. That's funny.
Andy, we have not been to India yet. That was originally the plan was 2022 would be India, but now that everything's kind of collapsing on itself, our plans are kind of up in the air for some of those places. So we're not just like all places. So we're trying to get it all figured out because right now we have nothing really planned. Like we have one trip still that has been canceled. Well, Jocelyn has another one that's probably going to get canceled, but we have nothing really set. It's kind of all open, and it's going to be when we can go and do some new things again. So tough.
So Andy, we've not been to India. We do have plans to get there. It's just a matter of doing it when the weather's decent. We have several friends who are from there, and we fostered an Indian child for a while, so we have a lot of connection to the country, and we definitely want to get there. So
you're the moment my friend had to explain what bless your heart, man. Yes, if you want to have some fun, look up. It's a Southern thing. That's a YouTube channel and Facebook page. They have some pretty funny Southern stuff, so that's good.
And bless your heart sometimes really does mean bless your heart. Like when somebody.
And sometimes like you're an idiot.
And sometimes it means what you think it means.
Yeah.
Or what you don't think it means.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Let's see.
Vega Bunny says, my tongue and bunny hug aren't keeping me warm enough.
No, my toque. The beanie. the
Oh,
skull
I
cap.
thought it said
It's
Tom.
Canadian. She's speaking Canadian.
I know. So I'm going to
Or
Timmy's
as
for
my
a
Finnish
double
friend,
double.
Canadian lining.
I'm going to.
Should we go to Timmy's, Tim Hortons? For double
What's
double?
a double double though?
I would guess
Double
it would be
coffee and donuts.
double donut.
I don't. Okay.
Give some Timbits and they'll be happy. They actually have some decent sandwiches there too. Though, has it gotten better? Because I know when they switched ownerships, Tim Hortons kind of went down. Have they kind of come back a bit? Do we celebrate our wedding anniversary? Yes.
All of them.
Yes, we have multiple.
We have several wedding anniversaries because we're weird.
Coming up,
Yeah.
So this year
we celebrate like one of our anniversaries. We took the kids on a recreation of our first date. We went to
Taco Bell and Dairy Queen.
Taco Bell and Dairy Queen and the movies. And yeah, because we had a whole day date actually. But Mark and I, we celebrate it. We don't do gifts and things like that. We generally just. Sometimes we get a babysitter. We usually go to dinner or something like that, but we don't spend a lot on things like that. That's one of the ways that we save for travel. You know, we don't do a lot of gifts and stuff. Like this year, Mark got me a carbon steel pan from a company called Blanc Creative, and they're not cheap. But it's an heirloom pan. Like one of my children will get this pan, and I'm going to save up money for the frying pan that I want from them, and then the other son will get that one. It's so when we do give a gift, it's something that is useful and that will last a really long time. So that's
Oh, Lauren helps double double is 2 sugars, 2 creams in your coffee.
Oh,
see, we're learning Canadian. We're all learning a new language today, people. Thank you,
Do you remember
team.
the proposal? Of course I remember the proposal.
We have it on video. Actually, you can go on Wolters World, and you will actually, there's a video. I cut out most of the kissing, so don't worry. It's family friendly. But yeah, the videos, no, or is the video on there? No, I used it in a proposal video when I talked about proposing when you're traveling. So if you look it up there, it'll pop up.
Oh.
Or, yeah, and I think it's on one of my older channels too.
Of course I remember. Mark was so excited he couldn't wait. I had just gotten off a plane and we're walking through Venice and we were just wandering and he pulls me over to the Grand Canal, suitcase and all, and gets down and he was gonna take a picture.
Hey, we got it out of the way, so we could celebrate.
See it, and I knew he was gonna ask me, but he was just bursting. I mean, so was I. But I didn't expect it. So I knew we were going to get engaged on the trip, but I didn't expect
way
it.
To do it because then if it's like the last day, you're like, I know it has to happen today. But of course, you would have said no. Then it would have been. That's why there's a couple of people we've helped prepare for their asking while they travel. And so I'm like, make sure they're going to say yes. Because if you ask early and they say no, it gets really weird the rest of the trip. So there's that. MD, yes, we'll be going back to Poland again. We got to get Liam there. Because the last few times I've gone to Poland, it's just been me. And so we need to go back, take Liam and take Caleb back again so we can do some more stuff. So we'll get back there. I have one Poland video left. I have the Don'ts of Krakow I still need to put up. Though I filmed the Don'ts of Poland in Krakow, I have actually Don'ts of just Krakow I got to put up. So there's some more of those coming up. Let's see.
Laura says, traveling is one of the reasons I'm still single. I don't understand that. You find the person that you can travel with and it's like so fun.
That's how you know they're the right person.
Well, that's like true because I would have stayed single a lot longer if we hadn't traveled together, I think, maybe.
Yeah. So finance, Amy Fresh, when you do separate trips, guys, girls trips, do you have preferred locations? I do. I find I've gone to New Orleans with buddies 3 times now. No, 4 times. I went with Magnus. I went with my buddy Jeff and Brad. I went with just Jeff. I went with Mike and Matt. Because New Orleans you want to go to a place that has a lot of different stuff for different people. Because New Orleans, it's got music, it's got drinking, it's got eating, it's got culture, it's got museums, it's got voodoo stuff, it's got outdoor stuff. So there's stuff for everybody, so you can have a nice mix of stuff. So I like New Orleans.
I like to go to places I've already been, particularly because often the people that I have traveled with are not as well traveled as I am, and so they're a little bit more hesitant. So I like to do things where I know where I'm going, and that makes it a little bit easier for them too, instead of doing a completely new place where I'm a novice and they're novice travelers. I do have, like my friend Lori, she travels a fair bit, and so it's she and I can go somewhere maybe new together, but generally speaking, most of the people who want to travel with me, I'm like, let's go to someplace I've already been. And I try to think about who they are and how their personalities would fit in a certain place.
Because there's certain friends I wouldn't go certain places with, and other ones it's totally fine.
Right.
And I think there was a question. Francis is like, look, I don't want a relationship or a romantic one, just a travel relationship. How do we get those? So this is one of the things with our friends we do travel with. It's like we've started with shorter trips, sometimes a weekend in Chicago or, to St. Louis.
Test people out first.
You test them out because if you're going to be there for 10 days, like it's kind of like...
You don't buy a shoe without trying it on.
You can do a weekend with anybody, but then once you get to a week-long one or a 10-day one, you're like, okay. Like I have videos on like 5-11 Hates to Travel with Friends, Don'ts of Traveling with Friends that can help out, like talk about some of the issues. Like you want to make sure you're planning time away from each other and let people have time. Talk about the money thing beforehand because there could be some real issues that people have time. Talk about the money thing beforehand because there could be some real issues that pop up there.
But when you find somebody that you travel well with, like Lori and I travel great together on our own, and part of the way we found that out is that our families have traveled together.
Yeah, and Jeff and I, her husband and I, travel great together.
And we hate the way they travel sometimes. Well, we don't hate it, but they drive us a little bit nuts.
And so it'll literally be like we'll go together, and the kids will be there. So it's like Jeff and I will take the kids one day, and they'll take the kids the other day, and so we do that.
And we do have days where all of us are together,
yeah.
But it's really nice because like. Part of how I knew that Lori and I would be good travel companions is that she and I shop the same. Like when we go shopping together, we don't like to have somebody up our butt. We like to just kind of, go and look and see. And if I need advice or I have a question, I'm like, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? She kind of does that with me. And so someone you can shop well with, I think that you can travel well with too.
So, Lauren, Iowa. I mean, you got the bridges of Madison County. Des Moines. My brother was looking at a job. I think in Des Moines was
baseball thing.
Yeah, the Field of Dreams was there. Des Moines had a nice downtown. Went there. I always wanted to go take a job there. I used to recommend
Cedar Rapids, but please, dear God, pray for the people in Cedar Rapids.
Yeah,
they had an inland hurricane about a week ago, and it's bad right now.
Yeah, but I don't have a lot on Iowa. We're looking to drive through Iowa actually later this year, and I'm like, okay, I'm trying to figure this out myself. Because we used to go to Davenport and stuff. My grandfather lived across the way from Keokuk, so we spent some time there. But yeah, it's a lot of
Quad Cities area is good.
So there's that.
Laura said, no one I've dated wanted to travel internationally. I don't understand that, but it's a deal breaker. Well, So all I ever wanted to do was travel internationally. So when we met, he took me to Paris. We went, not when we met, but the first time I went over to visit him in Lisbon, he took me to Paris for the weekend. And I was like, hey, instead of taking, this is what got him. I said, instead of taking my whole carry-on, can I just take like a backpack? Do you think that's enough? And he was like, I'm in love. He heard angels sing. And that was
we knew it was over. We were there. So I think Jennifer's story needs to be told. When Graham proposed to me, I didn't realize that's what it was because he was so nervous and incoherent. The next day he was talking about going for a ring, and I was like, for what?
Bless his little heart. And I mean, bless his heart the nice way. Like, bless his poor sweet heart. Oh, I don't know if he's still watching, but sweet thing. Oh,
that's funny.
Oh, goodness.
So, Francis, I mean, even if family doesn't want to go, it's hard. Sometimes it is hard to find people to travel international, like, because sometimes it's the time or it's the money. Like, I probably have two friends I can go, like, let's do it. They do it. Like, one, he's retired, and the other one, he's an entrepreneur, so he has his own time schedule. But my other friends, it's like, hey, can you do it this time? Or I can go for a few days, or I have my vacation time, but I got to do it with the kids. So that kind of limits it.
And Frances says that she's an extreme planner, so I couldn't travel with you. I can't handle that. Now, Mark is fine with that. I like to plan some stuff, and then I like to just explore the rest of it. I like to just throw myself into it and get lost a little bit. So that's another thing to look at, is the way you get things ready, So,
Nice. Thanks for noticing the eyebrows, Francis. I appreciate that.
When did you do the eyebrows?
Oh, Jen, her husband's watching now. Is all blushing. Hey, she eventually figured it out, I'm guessing, so it worked out, my friend.
And you're together. That's all that matters. You made it through. Oh.
Trips are too long. That could be for some people. It might be too much. So what I do is we'll go on like an 8 to 10 week trip in the summer, and we'll have friends like, hey, you want to come for a little bit? And they're only with us for like maybe 10 days, and they do their own thing like before and after. So it's kind of like, oh, meet us up while we're doing it. And sometimes that helps us to kind of plan out a part of our trips. Like, I know we're leaving, or we have our 2 destinations in between. What should we do in the middle? What direction should we go? And sometimes like, oh, our buddies Jeff and Laura are going to be in Italy at this time, so hey, we do that, and
we'll
we kind of
spend 5 days together in Italy, and then like
last
year we did that
because I was teaching a class, so that was me and Jeff, and then Jocelyn and Maury came, and there's that part there. Then they left and did some stuff, and then my parents came. We had that, and then we had our own family stuff for the last few weeks.
Yeah, so it's funny. We did have a little time, just us, but meeting up with people for small portions of it. Also, that gives you, like, sometimes you get travel weary. When we go and we're gone for 6 or 8 weeks, we've always found that middle couple weeks is when we all hate each other. So if we meet up with people, that kind of alleviates that problem for us. And we do pretty good, but like you get tired, and it gives you it re-energizes you to be around new and different people, particularly ones that you already know. It's not just about making friends when you travel, but solidifying friendships while you travel.
So vagabonding, I don't want to stay in a tent for 2 weeks, and hubby doesn't want to shoe shop for more than an hour. Wow, he can make it an hour? Good for him. Hence the love of separate vacations, yeah. And that's the thing, is we're cool. Like, Jocelyn goes on her own trips, I go on my own trips. We're totally fine with that, because sometimes it's a good way to do it. So
Troy had something right under that.
Troy is put Tabasco in the corners of your eyes when you drive through Kansas.
And Nebraska's kind of the same way, just a little bit right there on the edges. We don't actually suggest doing that.
Yeah, that would really hurt. My brother got me to do that once with chili pepper in my eye at a restaurant. And
he didn't.
He's like, look inside it, huh? And I was like, ah! I went running through the. Why are you hitting me?
You're an idiot. Who does that?
I was like 5, 6, maybe. And I go running, and my parents are like, what's going on? And I'm like, ah! They're like, open the door. Ah, it's so much. Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway.
Goodness. All right.
I love my brother.
Vagabondy says, I don't want to stay in a tent for 2 weeks, and the hubby.
I just did that one. I literally just.
Hang on, but the tent for 2 weeks in Africa is not like a tent. That's what you didn't talk about.
I don't think she's talking about 2 weeks in a tent in Africa.
Oh.
Her husband likes to go camping.
Oh. Well, tents in Africa aren't tents.
True.
If you do the nice places, yeah.
So Jennifer, she has 2 engagement rings now, thanks to flushing that engagement ring down the toilet the same night she flooded the house.
Oh my goodness. Inside Lauren's brain, there are fires here, and my mom's helping me prepare for possible evacuation. Part of my town is on fire. I'm so sorry. That's awful.
Sorry. Be safe, please.
Yeah, get the good stuff packed up. Yeah. Be ready. It's good that you're preparing ahead of time.
Yeah, Mo's saying I've kind of a, not really a strict schedule, just kind of ideas, some lighthouses and castles on the road trips I want to see.
That rough plan is kind of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Lushy said, what is your secret to a happy marriage? Happy wife, happy life? I don't know.
It's not true.
No.
Humor, honesty.
Communication.
Yeah, we had a little moment last night where I was just really frustrated with this trip he's been planning. And so I explained it very, very succinctly what I didn't like about it. And he's like, well, all you had to do was tell me. I'm like, well, I thought I had. But that's the thing, is that I wasn't really explaining myself until I did last night. And now it's fine. And we're on the same thing, you know. It's a lot of give and take. But like, to truly listen to what the other person is saying, but pay attention to what I have to really do that. I'm terrible at paying attention to what I say. It just comes out of my mouth. And that would probably be the worst part of our marriage, is my mouth. And you have to like them, not just love them. Like,
you always love them, but you don't always like them.
Yeah.
And realize you're going to have days like that, and you're going to have times that you're not always getting along, and realize we're all on the same team, and you know what?
Things ebb and flow, and
sometimes you go and you take that walk. You're like, you know what? I'm going to take a dog for a walk.
This is my teammate for the rest of my life. This is the other side of me until the day one of us dies, and that's just what it is, you know. So we're in it together. So there'll be days that aren't awesome, but you know, I know that I'll do anything in my power to make it right.
Exactly. So Jennifer, no, we will not be doing the extreme tequila shots where you squirt the lemon in your eyes and you sniff the stuff. I saw some people do that. I'm like, no.
Troy said we would do it to stay awake in the army. You actually did that? I thought it was a Tabasco joke. Holy crap. Oh.
Yeah, Jennifer says laughter and having experiences together. Yep, that is true. Yeah. Having things where you're that's one thing is I'm always like, you know, make sure you're doing stuff with them. And sometimes you got to do stuff without the kids. And occasionally, not that we do anything without the kids.
We're terrible about doing things
we've
for
had
just
like,
us.
There's been a couple, like before we went to Turks and Caicos last year for our anniversary. That was the first like international thing we did together. We've gone to Chicago a couple times, but it's because I had a conference and she just came with me, or went to Santa Fe because I had same conference. She went with me for a couple days.
I felt like Santa Fe was a little bit more of a vacation than Chicago, because Chicago's like right up the road, and it's not.
Yeah, it's not like going somebody's new and exciting. Oh, our 5 minutes turned into 20 minutes. Jennifer says, I think I scored lucky because my hubby is faultless. He's calm, rash, sweet, and sensitive, and has excellent taste
in women, right?
Women. Well, woman. One.
Nick is in Rockwell, Texas. Yesterday was
fantastic meeting the Dallas superheroes. That's cool, man. That was cool. Thank you guys for sharing that picture this morning too on the superheroes. That was
so cool.
It was really cool to do.
I love that y'all got together. It was really special, and that just kind of warms our heart that we had this small part in getting together this great group of people. Yeah, that was really special.
All right, folks, it's 11:15 here, so we want to say a wonderful Sunday to you, a great week for you. We'll be back doing some live feeds next month. We'll have some on Wolters World and some here on Jocelyn's. My semester starts tomorrow, so I will be busy with Professor Wolters for the foreseeable future. So we'll be putting out our usual videos and stuff. And the kids start online schooling on Wednesday. So
say a prayer because...
Yeah, that's why we want to do a bunch of these now. And we also, I had said 2 different days, so let's do both. But we thought it'd be good to get to spend some time with people and just want to say thanks.
Yeah.
So all right, everybody. We love you all. Be good.
Have a great week.